The great wave of magical technology. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 451, Destruction of the Semi-Saint. I don't believe it. Can he really do anything to me? The dark elf showed a horrified expression on his face, but soon pretended to be indifferent. He didn't believe that the dark elf could hear him. Are you really sure that I can't do anything to you? A gloomy voice suddenly came out from the deep bed of the dark elves. The dark elves shuddered involuntarily, and they looked in the direction of the voice in horror. Master Dodge, I was just talking nonsense there. Don't take it seriously. The dark elf explained to the middle-aged dark elf with a panicked face. Since you have the courage to talk nonsense, you must have the courage to accept my punishment for you. The middle-aged dark elf waved his hand, and a black corrupt force instantly shot out from his hand. After touching the young dark elf screamed and then turned into black liquid. The young man who wanted to stop the dark elf from turning into black water just now trembled violently. Master Dodge, do you also want to have the same fate as that guy? No, no, no. The young man who wanted to stop the dark elf from turning into black water just now hurriedly fled away. Those dark elves who were lucky enough to survive the hands of the middle-aged dark elf ran as fast as the wind all the way. After leaving the valley, they continued to flee at high speed. They probably ran hundreds of miles in the mountains and forests before stopping. The young dark elf wiped his head and said to himself in fear with sweat, fortunately he didn't chase me, otherwise, the legend is really true. That guy is a demon in the skin of a dark elf. Tiredness surged in his heart, and the young dark elf walked forward tiredly. In front of him was a low hill covered with special vegetation. The young dark elf couldn't help but sit down with a pale face. I'm lucky to have escaped, but what should I do next? The dark elf took out a kettle from his space ring and drank it. Dude, I've told you many times not to talk nonsense, but why didn't you listen? Now something's wrong. The young dark elf sighed softly. Dude, don't blame me. It's not that I won't avenge you, it's that the other party is too awesome. At the same time, Yunfan suddenly felt irritated in his heart, and this feeling made him frown slightly involuntarily, because whenever this feeling appeared, it was often accompanied by bad things. Is there something wrong again? Everyone chase the dark elves now. Don't leave too far. Even if you can't kill all the dark elves, you must return in a short time. Yunfan suddenly gave an order. As soon as Yunfan's order came, everyone acted according to her instructions. Time passed, and more than half an hour had passed. In this half an hour, these dark elves were simply living a year. The dark elves had almost no rest, and galloped at full speed. On the way, they took out the magic circle of communication many times to try to get in touch with the dark dungeon, but they always failed. The injuries of these dark elves worsened, and Andy's face gradually turned pale. The fatigue and injuries made these dark elves haggard. Damn it, what's going on? Why can't we get in touch with the dungeon? That guy has broken through to the saint level. If the elders don't come to rescue, Andy said dejectedly. Andy's injuries can be said to be getting more and more serious, and her speed gradually slowed down. In the end, it was almost the dark elves around her who pulled her forward. The dark elves are an extremely evil and cautious race. Because of the injury, he has become more cautious now. As the patriarch of the Dark Clan, Andy has a stable personality, is as careful as a hare, and is sensitive to danger. In her vigilance, he has saved his life more than once. The dark elves fled, and Andy and the others were exhausted and looked haggard. When they entered a valley, Yunfan's heart suddenly jumped, after walking a few steps, and he couldn't help but stop. What's wrong? Carl asked. Not long after, suddenly, a black gas whistled in the sky. The black gas was a three-headed dog of hell. A middle-aged dark elf sat on the three-headed dog of hell in the mist, looking down at Yunfan and the others. After seeing Yunfan, the middle-aged dark elf's heart began to beat, because he felt a very strong breath from the other party, which made him want to devour Yunfan very much. They didn't catch up. Andy was secretly happy in his heart, and suddenly turned around, and saw the middle-aged dark elf not far away. His face changed again in an instant. Why is he here? Why don't the elders of the tribe come in person? The surrounding heaven and earth seemed to be suppressed, and people felt a strong sense of uneasiness in their hearts. It seemed that the shadow of death was getting bigger and bigger, and it was going to crush Yunfan and Karl's soldiers. Are you guys the ones who are hunting down my people? A dark elf of the semi-saint rank, and the aura on your body is very strange. With a bang, a black light instantly fell from midair and hit a stone not far away. The stone collapsed and scattered, and the soldiers under Yunfan and Karl spurted blood, and Karl also had blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. Humph, it's the aura of the destruction clan. Yunfan couldn't help but snorted coldly. After hearing Yunfan's words, the middle-aged dark elf's body shook involuntarily, his eyes turned red, and he stomped his body like a bloodthirsty demon, and all his strength was instantly condensed. With a bang, the ground in front of Yunfan shattered directly, and his body rose from the ground, and the whole person leaped, so fast that it turned into a long rainbow, and pressed directly towards Yunfan, giving people a feeling of facing death. It seems that you are indeed a guy from the destruction clan. Yunfan couldn't help but get nervous again. Although he had broken through to the saint rank, he still couldn't help but panic when facing the destruction clan. Since I met the destruction clan, every member of the destruction clan has been very difficult to deal with, and almost every member of the destruction clan has the ability to challenge opponents of higher levels. Moreover, I'm not afraid of death at all for the people of the destruction clan. Chapter 452 Breakthrough. Master, should we go back to help or dodge? A dark elf beside Andy said to Andy. Go help him, I think you are overthinking. Andy had a mocking smile in his eyes, and then continued, let's go back to the dark city, as soon as possible. Dodge can't be that guy's opponent. Dodge quickly approached Yunfan and soon came in front of Yunfan. It's interesting, Dodge looked at Yunfan, and couldn't help but be surprised. The more he looked at Yunfan's expression, the more he feared. After all, he was a half-saint. Although he had not reached the saint realm, he could vaguely feel that Yunfan was extraordinary. Master Dodge. The subordinates who had heard the news and rushed over also looked at Dodge. What should we do now? Don't worry, these people are our targets. They are right in front of us now. They can't escape. Let me try them first. Dodge raised the corner of his mouth slightly and said to the dark elf who came. With a move of his hand, the black energy directly captured a piece of stone on the ground. Then he waved his hand violently, and the power of destruction wrapped around the stone and turned it into a stream of light and shot it towards Yunfan in the distance. Although it was just a stone thrown casually, its power should not be underestimated. An ordinary 7th level master would probably be crushed to death. Wow. When the stone invaded the area several meters in front of Yunfan, it instantly stopped there. A force from nowhere acted on it, and the stone turned into powder with a bang. Dodge and the dark elves under his command were all nervous. They looked at each other, and were obviously confused about the mysterious power. They were now very curious about what kind of power turned the big stone into powder, because they did not feel any power from Yunfan. I don't believe it. Dodge snorted coldly, and a huge black skull appeared out of thin air in his hand. Huh. This huge black skeleton looked strange and abnormal. It smashed towards Yunfan who was not far away. When the skeleton came to the place where the stone turned into powder just now, the skull began to shatter. However, the terrible impact force contained in the skeleton itself caused a strong wind and wave fluctuation around Yunfan. Yunfan's body also trembled slightly. When he opened his eyes, he saw that the airwave surrounding his body dissipated. The skeleton hit him head on. Dodge was looking at him with a sneer in the distance. Not bad. Just relying on momentum to resist the 8th level attack. This is really extraordinary. After entering the saint level, Yunfan used a kind of use of the field after entering the saint level, which can be understood as a kind of momentum. Yunfan directly struck out with a sword, and the high-speed flying skeleton exploded with a bang, turning into a huge airwave, splashing dust all over the ground. Boy from the land. Dodge grinned. I don't care why you came to this underground world. As long as I kill you, I can fulfill my promise to the Dark Elves, so today is your death. Do you think you are sure to kill me? Yunfan glanced at him coldly, and then he began to activate the King Dedao key in his body. This breakthrough has allowed it to enter the saint level. The previous understanding made him understand a little about the vast and vague saint. This little has made him perfect in the field. Everything in the world is not absolutely opposite. Just like night and day seem to be opposites, but in fact they are just two different sides of a day. Everything in the world has life and death. Death does not necessarily mean the end, but it may also represent a new life. Dodge showed a mocking smile on his face, as if he was mocking Yunfan's overestimation. I just made a breakthrough and I just wanted to find an opponent to try it out. Since you are here, let's try it out. Demon Sealing Sword Technique. Fusion of water and fire. Yunfan suddenly slashed out two swords with the Daoluo sword in his hand. What no one expected was that the two swords that Yunfan slashed out actually had two different attributes of water and fire. The sword energy of these two attributes actually rotated and cut through the void and went straight to Dodge. The sword energy of these two different attributes not only did not cancel each other out, but also increased each other's power. How can you control two sword energies with completely opposite attributes? Dodge looked at Yunfan in disbelief. Carl also looked at Yunfan in surprise. To be honest, he also embarked on the practice of two attributes of power by chance, and the power of these two attributes was completely opposite to the power that Yunfan was using now. He had met many people with equal strength to him, and even asked his master. He had never met anyone else who had used two completely opposite powers like him. Almost everyone told him that this was a road of no return. Even Cole was once confused. He didn't know how long he could live. After seeing Yunfan using two completely opposite powers just like him, Cole's heart became active again. Since someone has already broken through to the saint level, it proves that this is not a dead end. Carl didn't know that Yunfan had comprehended not only two opposite powers, but the power he cultivated included all things in the world, and it was not an exaggeration to describe it as chaos. How to use two completely opposite powers at the same time. Yunfan regarded himself as a point of chaos, and the two powers of water and fire rotated around him, so that it became the center of the two completely opposite powers and interdependent with the powers of these two properties. Lead. Yunfan's eyes were full of absolute confidence. The King Emperor's fighting spirit that had been fully stimulated in his body instantly filled every part of his body, whether it was Yunfan's hair and flesh, or his internal organs and even more subtle parts. It existed everywhere. This is the Holy Land. Control power. Yunfan can mix the powers of various attributes in the world together to produce the power of chaos, and can also transform this chaotic power into power of any attribute. The power that Yunfan now controls is no longer simply the so-called elemental power of the past. Generally speaking, the power that Yunfan controls is the power of chaos, the source of all power, containing everything and giving birth to everything. Every trace of firepower began to entangle with the power of water, but their nature prevented them from merging, and a figure like the Bagwood diagram on the earth was formed in the air. The two forces of water and fire controlled by Yunfan rotated with each other, and were like two Tekai fish, chasing each other, one yin, one yang. They kept chasing each other. It contained a trace of the Holy Land that Yunfan had felt before. Chapter 453 Water and Fire Field. Gradually, in the center of the chasing water and fire, a new force was born. Only the water element and fire element in the air around Yunfan appeared directly on both sides of Yunfan. This was the purest fire and water between heaven and earth. The surrounding heaven and earth condensed into a huge flame sword out of thin air, and after a while it turned into a water sword. It was said to be slow, but in fact, Yunfan had already begun to mobilize the power in his body the moment he discovered the identity of the other party. Dodge and the Dark Elves under his command saw with their own eyes that the water sword and the flame sword condensed out of thin air, and they even felt fear from this. The Dark Elves turned into ice crystal sculptures where the water sword passed, and the Dark Elves were directly burned to ashes where the fire sword passed. At the same time, during the battle, there was a faint shadow of an ancient tree behind Yunfan. In the center of this ancient tree was Yunfan. This. Dodge's face changed drastically in shock. Have you already broken through to the saint level and possessed a complete domain? And it is a domain composed of two completely incompatible forces of water and fire. Without a doubt, Sensing the special aura coming from Yunfan, Dodge quickly reacted. This was a realm he had not yet touched, and the other party's domain was too weird. He had never heard of two completely contradictory forces. Someone could actually use these two contradictory forces to the extreme. Humph, even if you have entered the saint level, so what? What we, the Destruction Clan, are best at is challenging people of higher levels. Skeletons appeared out of thin air in Dodge's hands, and then he flew away, running around Yunfan, who was shrouded in the water and fire domain. At the same time, his right hand occasionally swung out, and saw skeletons flying directly around Yunfan, and hanging directly in the depths of the void in the distance. In just a few seconds, those black skeletons were already hanging around Yunfan, and only those skeletons could be heard screaming and making terrifying hissing sounds. Dodge flew in the air like that. Master, kill him. The black skeleton said. Now his domain is not fully deployed. It's a vulnerable moment. Dodge stared at Yunfan, who was shrouded in the domain of water and fire in the distance with a grim face. He is now enveloped by water and fire. These two completely opposite forces, let alone you and me. Even if an ordinary saint domain powerhouse dares to touch it, if he touches it easily, I'm afraid there will be a strong explosion. So powerful? The black skeleton was shocked. Of course it's powerful. Dodge's face was solemn. These are two completely contradictory forces. Who dares to touch them? Then we'll just watch. The black skeleton was anxious. Watch the kid from the surface showing off his power here. Dodge sneered. I have set up a formation of destruction to completely separate this place. There is no way to receive power from the void. He can't maintain this area by relying on his own strength. But this kid is amazing. Dodge couldn't help but praise. He has reached the saint level at such a young age. If he is allowed to grow, he will definitely be the #1 on the continent in the future. It is not a good thing for the people in my underground world to counterattack the surface of the continent. I have already felt the aura from him. No matter how powerful he is just about to step into the saint realm. Haha. When I thought about killing such a monstrous genius, I couldn't help but get excited. The most important thing is that killing such a talented young man will provide me with a lot of destructive energy. Maybe I can break through to the saint level with these destructive energy. What is the saint level? Returning to the original state, having mastered a rule of heaven and earth, and using this rule to form a domain, is the true saint level. Ordinary practitioners only release the magic base in their bodies to build solidified magic, and then wash their skin and flesh, to reach the state of communicating with heaven and earth. This is actually the worst kind of saint level. And our key to become a saint, is to let the body shed its mortal body from the root, and have a sacred body. Dao cultivates itself, and the scope of the domain formed is much smaller than the domain formed by practicing magic, and the power that constitutes its own domain comes from itself. So people who become saints with Dao are very little affected by the environment. Yunfan's domain has been fully unfolded. Looking at Dodge and the dark elf in the distance, he said, "Die." Dodge never expected that Yunfan actually entered the saint level with both spirit and body. With the addition of the power of heaven and earth and his own power, he can match the power that is not ordinary people who have just entered the saint level. Boom. Boom. The bodies of the dark elves around Dodge were like porcelain dolls, directly torn apart by the two forces of water and fire. There was still confusion in the eyes of these dark elves. They realized that death was so simple. What a great water and fire field. I didn't expect that a genius like you would appear in the human race on Earth. Dodge didn't seem to care about the death of his dark elves at all, as if those who died were not his men, but some cats and dogs. Thank you for the compliment. How fast can the strong fight? Yunfan used the power of the water and fire field to directly kill those dark elves in less than a breath. The skeletons surrounding Yunfan also suddenly exploded, and black air currents directly enveloped Yunfan's water and fire field, and a breath of destruction instantly rushed to his face. Destruction domain. Extinction. Dodge was actually shocked to see the dark elves under his command being killed so easily, but he soon calmed down and roared with a ferocious face. In my destruction domain, no matter how talented you are, you will die. Die. Black destructive air currents like pythons instantly pounced on Yunfan. Humph. Ji Yunfan just moved his mind, and water and fire around his body suddenly blended together out of thin air. These water and fire turned into the yin-yang Teikai diagram on the earth. A big fish composed of blue and red colors was seen spinning in the air. When those black destructive air currents hit, Ji Yunfan moved his mind, and the yin-yang Teikai diagram composed of water and fire actually directly isolated those destructive air currents. As if there was a natural contradictory force, the two-color yin-yang Teikai diagram instantly wrapped Ji Yunfan completely in it, airtight, and those black destructive air currents could not penetrate it at all. Bang, bang, bang. The black destructive airflow and the yin-yang bag were intertwined in the air. Although the water-fire yin-yang Teikai diagram was closed, it was still slowly rotating. The two completely different forces that complemented and restrained each other were rotating slightly like this. No matter how many times the black destructive airflow hit, it could not break through this layer of defense. What on earth is this? Chapter 454 Dodge is scared. Have you heard of the yin-yang Teiji Bagwood diagram? Ji Yunfan asked back. Of course, he knew that the other party had never heard of it. This thing is simply a product of the earth. This is the Western magic world and the Eastern fairy world is completely different. Ji Yunfan's profit comes from himself on the one hand, and from the void on the other hand. However, water and fire gather and disperse unpredictably, and they are not real objects. Even if the yin-yang Teiji diagram is occasionally damaged, Ji Yunfan can restore it with a thought. Yin-yang Teiji Bagwood diagram? What the hell is this? I have inherited the heritage of the Destruction Clan. How come I have never heard of it? Dodge was shocked, and my destructive aura is higher than all element. With my strength, I'm not afraid, even if I encounter an opponent at the peak of the saint level. How come I can't even break this kid's weird domain now? Dodge didn't know that Ji Yunfan came from an earth that was different from this plane or this world. The culture there was very different from the culture here, which was equivalent to the true meaning of Taoism. The greatest achievement of the previous breakthrough and enlightenment, this yin-yang Teiji Bagwood diagram, already had a trace of the so-called Tao on Earth. In fact, every world has its own way. Whether it is practicing fighting spirit or practicing magic, it is all for the purpose of getting closer to the way of this world. The so-called way can also be said to be the rules of conduct in this world. Everything is under the control of this way. The saint rank cultivated by the King Emperor's fighting spirit is already extremely powerful and can control everything. Water and fire are just two forces among all things. It is much more powerful than the water and fire controlled by ordinary saint rank. Then, it can display the water and fire field containing true meaning to resist a half-saint of the Destruction Clan. It is naturally a piece of cake. The guy of the Destruction Clan, since you are so ungrateful, I will play with you now and send you off. Ji Yunfan, who was in the water and fire field, vaguely saw the figure in the distance through the power of the field and the field of destruction, and his mind could control everything around him at this time. Naturally, he could sense the breath of external objects around him, and clearly sense the location of Dodge. Ji Yunfan's mind moved. I saw that a yin-yang Teikai diagram appeared out of thin air where Dodge was. The two big red and blue fish crushed Dodge like a millstone. Destruction field resist. Dodge was shocked when he saw this. The dark elves under his command died just like that. Even the large number of black skeletons that he controlled were frantically surrounding his body to mortgage the crushing power of the water and fire Teikai diagram. In this way, he could barely block it. Even if the power of water and fire occasionally came in, his fighting spirit could block it. You have actually reached the Holy Realm. Damn bastard. Such an important news did not even tell me. Those guys are trying to kill someone with a borrowed knife. Dodge was also full of fear. No wonder you agreed to let me go free. It turns out that you have already thought of using others to kill me. Dodge seemed to have figured out a lot of things and couldn't help but roar loudly. But you don't know. My Destruction Clan is powerful. How could he know? Ji Yunfan is not a person from this world at all, and he who owns the world tree can be said to be the nemesis of the Destruction Clan. I'm not dead. Ji Yunfan, who was protected by the yin-yang Teikai diagram, quickly rushed towards Taidaoki. The Destruction Clan is indeed not to be underestimated. In this case, how about I try harder? Let's go. Daoki was so scared that his face changed and he gritted his teeth and turned around to escape regardless of everything. This decision was decisive. After all, he was born in the Dark Elf clan. It was his nature to seek benefits and avoid disasters. Even if he became a member of the Destruction clan, his personality did not change much. Moreover, he knew very well that once the two completely contradictory powers were cultivated to the saint level, their power would be thousands of times greater than that of other saint levels. Although Yunfan was at the beginning of the saint level at this time, he could match the strength of other saint level peaks. Hideyoki was only a half saint. Even if he could challenge across levels, he could only be comparable to the saint level at the beginning. Now let him fight with Yunfan, who was equivalent to the saint level peak. That would be courting death. Before, he relied on the fact that Yunfan had just broken through, but he couldn't even do anything to his opponent in the field of destruction. If he fought with Yunfan, wouldn't he be sending himself to death? He is from the Destruction clan, but he is not a fool. He wants to destroy others, not himself. A demon who has just entered the saint rank, and whose combat power can rival that of a perfect saint rank, has appeared on the surface of the earth. I must report to the ancestors, and must eradicate him as soon as possible. Otherwise, he will be a disaster for my Destruction clan in the future. Dodge was completely frightened, especially because Yunfan's water and fire domain was too powerful, so powerful that he had no confidence in winning. Even if his saint domain was perfect, Dodge did not think he could defeat Yunfan, who was more powerful than his destruction domain. This was too. We must destroy this guy, and never let him live in this world. What Dodge thought in his heart was to go back and report to the ancestors of the Destruction clan. Yes, he did not want to report the matter to the Dark Elves. In his opinion, he was no longer a Dark Elves, and only destruction was his belief. Whether it was the Dark Elves or the Destruction clan, the 5 overlords of the entire dungeon, all of them had saint level masters in charge, and among the many dungeons, only the Destruction dungeon was the most powerful. It was said that their strongest had reached the demigod realm, but no one had ever seen what that demigod looked like. Space teleport scroll. Dodge waved his hand, and a black scroll that seemed to have strange veins appeared in his hand. On it was a strange ancient text, faintly emitting a mysterious wave. Dodge's hand burst into a wave of fighting spirit and entered the scroll in his hand. Wow. A powerful space wave came from the entire space, and the magic scroll instantly opened a space portal in the air. Escape. Dodge immediately turned into a stream of light and quickly ran towards the space portal. At the same time, he did not take back the destructive aura he released, although if he did not take back the destructive aura, his strength would be greatly reduced. He still had to rely on the destruction domain to resist the water and fire domain. If he took back the destructive aura and the skeleton, it would also waste a lot of time. He will definitely be caught up by this terrifying guy from the surface, and what he will lose is not only the aura of destruction and some refined skeletons, but in the end he may even lose his life here. Chapter 455 Escape. Dodge expected the beginning, but not the end. He was very excited to chase Yunfan and the others, but he never thought that Yunfan and the others were so powerful. Escape. Yunfan also chased after him. His improved strength made him even more agile, and he turned into a stream of light and chased after him. This kid is so powerful. No, I must stop him from passing through the portal, otherwise my life will definitely be in danger. Swoosh. Dodge took out another magic scroll and threw it directly at the space portal behind him. After he threw the magic scroll, he turned into a puff of green smoke and quickly escaped. I can't catch up. Yunfan had a trace of unwillingness in his eyes. As a double-level saint, his speed was already exaggerated. But Dodge used 2 magic scrolls in succession. One was a space transmission scroll, and the other was a space locking scroll. Ha ha ha. Dodge breathed a sigh of relief. Without the threat of the water and fire domain, although he didn't know where he was teleported to, it was better than being killed. Then he hated Yunfan. After all, he lost a lot of destruction energy and skeletons. You kid from the surface, let you be proud. I will definitely report to the ancestor. There are other underground cities. Such a monster, whether it is my destruction clan or other underground cities, will be eradicated as soon as possible. Dodge was full of hatred. Dodge's speed has been exerted to the extreme. Like lightning, he was escaping. To be honest, he didn't know where he was now. But at this moment, a large piece of rock in front of him suddenly fell down with a rumble, completely blocking Dodge's front. What's going on? Dodge was shocked. He was now in a state of fear. He swung the destruction energy in his hand fiercely, turning it into an arc of light that passed through the flying rocks, just like a saw cutting through, and the rocks were directly separated, but Dodge was also forced to slow down. Then, from all directions, a large number of branches, tree trunks, and even rocks on the ground, flew over and smashed towards Dodge. How could you be here? Dodge was completely stunned and looked at Yunfan in disbelief. You have to know that he used the space teleportation scroll, and when he left, he used another scroll to close the entire space teleportation. Now the other party appeared in front of him. Are you still a holy space magician who has mastered space magic? How is this possible? Since I can appear in front of you, what is impossible? Yunfan smiled coldly, as if he was narrating a very ordinary thing. Damn it, who are you? How can you control so many attributes of power at the same time? Dodge roared loudly. You have too many problems. I'd better send you on your way. The overwhelming water and firepower covered him, and Dodge couldn't help but use the destructive energy to resist. You can't escape. Yunfan approached Dodge again with the Daolo divine sword in his hand, like a stream of light flowing from the east. Are you really going to kill us all? Dodge shouted in horror. While drinking, Dodge continued to run in an arc, trying to avoid the sword energy condensed by Yunfan's water and firepower, but the surrounding water and firepower still surged towards him, making it impossible for him to run fast. Yunfan grinned. He had given up just now, but what Yunfan didn't expect was that Dodge was about to escape. After activating the space transmission scroll, Yunfan was naturally very anxious. At the moment of anxiety, Yunfan found that his thoughts fluctuated violently and even made the surrounding space tremble. He found that he could actually detect the subtle space fluctuations in the space and even had a feeling that the whole world was under his control. Yunfan tried to communicate with the space, but he didn't expect that he could easily track the direction in which Dodge fled, and even easily came to the place where Dodge was teleported by controlling the space. He clearly felt that his thoughts were like an invisible hand that could grasp the space fluctuations around him. Wherever the mind goes, it can be located. Yunfan was suddenly ecstatic. The soul, or more accurately, the mental power, becomes stronger and stronger, and various visions appear. If you were in my position, would you be kind enough to let me go? Yunfan asked with a smile. Dodge's heart was slightly cold. He actually had the answer to this question a long time ago, but after hearing Yunfan's words, he couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. However, the thought of disappointment only appeared for a moment, and then he was swallowed by crazy emotions. Damn bastard, since you don't let me live, I won't let you live either. What can the saint level do? Whoosh. Yunfan held the Daolo sword in his hand, and was even faster than before. Destruction field, open it for me. Dodge roared, and the black gas around him burst out again in an instant. However, because he lost a large number of skeletons, the power of the field was even weaker than at the beginning. No, I won't die here. I won't die in the hands of this little surface kid. Feeling the approach of death, Dodge became very crazy. He didn't know where to take out an extremely black longsword. Yunfan faintly felt a very disgusting breath on this longsword. That breath even affected the world tree in his sea of consciousness. Yes, it was a disgusting breath. Bang. The weapons of the two people collided with each other, sparking endless sparks. Under the slow grinding of the water, fire, yin and yang Teikai diagram, the destruction field on Dodge's body finally collapsed. Ah. The moment Dodge was crushed by the water, fire, yin and yang Teikai diagram, his outer clothes turned into ashes, revealing his body, that began to carbonize and burn. He let out a painful wail. Dodge immediately turned around, and was about to continue to escape. It's already this time, are you still going to escape? Yunfan said in a cold tone. At the same time, the Daolo sword in Yunfan's hand instantly turned into tassels, and the sword flashed, piercing through Dodge's forehead. Then the water, Fire, yin and yang Teikai diagram slowly dissipated, and Ji Yunfan drew his sword and retreated, silently looking at Dodge who had fallen to the ground. Dodge's eyes widened, and there was a bloody hole on his forehead. His eyes were full of disbelief and anger. He didn't expect to die at the hands of a boy on the surface. In his heart, he resented the great elder of the Dark Elves. If he hadn't received accurate information, he would never have come rashly. Now everything is too late. Chapter 456, Breakthrough to Saint Level. This is the Saint rank. It's really too strong. Ji Yunfan whispered to himself, but his heart was filled with silent excitement. He finally understood why he often heard people on the mainland say, once you enter the Saint rank, you will be separated from heaven and man. He finally became a Saint rank existence. Even if the semi-saints with a good reputation and strong strength are dying in front of him. Even if I come to the world of magic and swords, Ji Yunfan roared in his heart, I can still become a Saint rank with my own efforts. This is just the beginning of me, Ji Yunfan. The experience of the previous life, everything he saw in this life, all made Ji Yunfan have an extremely eager heart to be strong, eager to control his destiny in his own hands, not to be controlled by others, and not to be teased by fate. This is just the beginning. Ji Yunfan immediately stepped forward a few steps, and walked to Dodge's body. With a thought, a flame rushed out and instantly burned Dodge into ashes, leaving only a space ring and a black longsword. This black sword is a bit strange. The space ring and the black sword flew into Ji Yunfan's hands. Ji Yunfan observed carefully, this thing gives me a very ominous feeling, and it can fight with the Daoluo sword for so many times, but there is no sign of damage. It seems to be at the artifact level. Ji Yunfan waved his hand to open the space door again, and returned to the original position through the teleportation door. After returning to the original position, Ji Yunfan found that Carol and others were waiting for him there, so he explained the situation to Carol and others, and Ji Yunfan began to study his cultivation. The holy level is like a new world for him. He feels that his strength is unprecedentedly strong. More than an hour has passed since this battle. Ji Yunfan is still sitting cross-legged there. At this moment, a drastic change is taking place in his sea of consciousness. Boom. The originally strong traces of mental power, at this moment, condensed into droplets under high-speed rotation, and drops of true essence began to condense, and around Ji Yunfan's body, it also automatically attracted some colorful and various attributes of power. This is the best state of my body. Ji Yunfan smiled. He was able to break through the original realm with the help of the power of the curse, but his body was severely damaged. If other people were to go through such consumption, their bodies would definitely not be able to bear it. However, he, who practiced the King Emperor's Dao Ki, had been nourished by the King Emperor's Dao Ki since the beginning, so after the breakthrough, his whole body was transformed, from a mortal body to a holy body, and his meridians were also completely renewed. Now Ji Yunfan's body has become tough and perfect, without any damage. It is tougher and wider than the bodies of many saints. In addition, Jining's realm is very high, so it is natural to break through. Ji Yunfan opened Dodge's space ring, and found that the most precious thing in the ring was 3 space transmission scrolls. This was accumulated by Dodge over many years. Today, he has used 2 of them in one breath, but he still couldn't save his life. Although this kind of thing is very useful for others, it has no appeal to him, a saint who masters the law of space. He plans to give this thing to his friends as a means of saving his life. It's a pity that there are no other magic weapons. Ji Yunfan shook his head, but it was expected. It was good for a half-saint level strongman to have a magic weapon. This sword is a bit strange. I'll study it carefully after I go back. Ji Yunfan flipped his hand and took out the black longsword from the space ring. This should be a standard equipment. It seems that I thought too much about the magic weapon as a standard equipment. Wow. With a force, the King Emperor's fighting spirit acted on it, and the black sword in his hand was slashed out, and a set of black blades were slashed out, instantly splitting the earth apart. Seeing this, the other people present couldn't help but gasp. Good sword. Carl praised, and looked carefully at the black sword in Ji Yunfan's hand. There were 2 ancient characters on the black sword Rakshasa. This name made Carl confused. I guess it's the name of the black sword. What? The word Rakshasa is engraved on the sword in your hand. Sakadan's surprised voice suddenly sounded in Ji Yunfan's mind. Sakadan, do you know the meaning of the word Rakshasa? Ji Yunfan couldn't help but ask in his heart. There used to be a team in the Immortal Legion called Rakshasa Squad. If the name of this sword is really Rakshasa, the guy you just said to have killed, even if he is not from the Rakshasa Squad, has an inseparable relationship with the Rakshasa Squad. Why is it related to the Immortal Legion and the Destruction Clan everywhere? Ji Yunfan muttered to himself unhappily. After we go back, let the dwarves try to see if they can reforge it. Ji Yunfan put away the black sword Rakshasa. Without experiencing the bone-chilling cold, how can there be the fragrance of plum blossoms? Without experiencing wind and rain, how can there be a rainbow? Saint Dante, do you know what your plan is? Carl asked with a little respect. Since Ji Yunfan broke through the saint rank, Carl has made clear his status. The saint rank is extraordinary and has transcended the stage of mortals. Captain Carroll, what do you think? Should we just leave the dungeon? If we just leave the dungeon, it's probably not a good choice. We know nothing about the strength inside the dungeon. If one day the people in the dungeon want to attack the ground, in that case, let's stay in the dungeon for a while. At least we need to figure out the attitude of the dungeon towards the ground. What do you think, Captain Carroll? Ji Yunfan suggested in a calm tone. Saint Dante means what I mean. Carroll breathed a long sigh of relief. To be honest, if Ji Yunfan wanted to leave now, he really didn't know what to do. According to what they had seen in the dungeon, they would not only fail to find out anything, but they would also become slaves in the end. You know, anyone who came to chase them would have the strength of a semi-saint. At the same time, Andy had returned to the dark dungeon. When she just arrived at the gate of the dark dungeon, she was stopped directly. Stop. Who are you? The guard shouted loudly. Damn you, you bastards, you are blind. Don't you even recognize me? Andy glared at the dark elf who was guarding him. When the guard saw Andy's face, he couldn't help but be terrified. Master Andy, how could you be so embarrassed? Chapter 457 Bow of Darkness. Andy's eyes widened immediately and said, watch your mouth. Don't ask questions that you shouldn't ask. Holy rank? The holy rank was achieved with the help of the power of the dark bow. Some dark elves were shocked after hearing what Andy said. A field composed of the two forces of water and fire. Chief Andy, are you sure you are not joking? Chief Andy, the joke you told is not funny at all. Some dark elves whose status was not lower than Andy raised the corners of their mouths slightly, revealing a sarcastic smile. It was obvious that they felt that Andy was shirking responsibility for the death of the dark elves. Third Elder. Andy was very angry, biting her position very hard, interrupting her words, and said, do you think I will lie about this matter? What good will it do me if I lie? You are really heartless. I never thought you would say such a thing. Anyone can not believe it, but you cannot. Don't you know me? Although we have broken up, you can't be so heartless. Do you want to rub salt into my heart? After hearing the conversation between the third elder and the head of their own family, none of the other dark elves dared to speak. You know, Andy and the third elder both had the opportunity to run for the chieftain, and the third elder's chance was much greater than Andy's, but I don't know what happened in the end. The third elder made a mistake inexplicably, and Andy became the chieftain inexplicably. The third elder curled his lips and seemed to be a little impatient. He lost the opportunity to be selected as the chieftain inexplicably that year. Later, he thought about it carefully many times, and then he found out that Andy was using him. I don't mean anything else. I'm just stating a fact. The third elder's expression was very calm, and there was no trace of personal grudges. Andy's expression also became very calm at this moment. She had a beautiful face and frowned slightly. I didn't expect that the people coming from the ground would be so powerful. This matter must be notified to the people in other dungeons. Yes, this matter involves humans on the ground, and it is a matter of the entire underground world. We don't know anything about the situation in the dungeon now. If we attack the dungeon rashly, we don't know what kind of trouble we will cause. It's better to catch a guy from the underground world and ask him. Ji Yunfan said to the others. The idea is indeed good, but where should we start? The flying dragon that the dark elves took us to find is good. Not only can we catch it as a mount, but we should also be able to get a lot of information from it. Ji Yunfan thought for a while and said, "This is okay." Carl responded seriously. Since Ji Yunfan has broken through to the saint level, there is no danger for everyone when facing the flying dragon. So Ji Yunfan led everyone to the direction of the valley, where the flying dragon was. When everyone arrived at the valley, the flying dragon was hiding in the valley to recover from its injuries. After Ji Yunfan saw the flying dragon, he rushed directly to the front of the flying dragon. The flying dragon was instantly terrified and immediately flapped its wings to leave. While flying, it suddenly opened its mouth and snorted a dragon's breath. Ji Yunfan's eyes showed a divine light, and he did not dodge at all, allowing the dragon's breath to hit him. He rushed forward, and at the moment when the flying dragon was shocked, he came close to the flying dragon and stood directly on him. The two fingers of his right hand flashed with colorful light and directly stuck the flying dragon's neck and squeezed it hard. With a click, the flying dragon opened his eyes wide and blood spurted out of his mouth. He never thought that Ji Yunfan would be so powerful that he could not breathe for a while. The flying dragon was seen flapping its wings and charging around, trying to throw Ji Yunfan off its back, but Ji Yunfan stood on the flying dragon's back motionlessly, as if he had taken root. Ouch. It hurts. Stop hitting me. Stop hitting me. I surrender. The flying dragon Bert yelled loudly, and his huge body slowly shrank under the grey light. Ji Yunfan was stunned, as he did not expect the flying dragon to beg for mercy. He let go of his hand with a mixture of laughter and tears, intending to see what the flying dragon was up to. After Carl and his soldiers surrounded the flying dragon in the center, the flying dragon's body gradually shrank under the black light, and finally changed into a human form. A young man appeared there with wounds all over his body and blood in the corners of his eyes. He was screaming in pain, while begging for mercy. I surrender. I surrender. Fuck, what the hell is this? He glared at Carl, and pointed all his weapons at the young man. Ji Yunfan, holding the Daoluo sword in his hand, slowly walked to the front of the young man and said, "Are all dragons so cowardly? But there is no use in surrendering. You have a lot of valuable things on you, including dragon crystals, dragon tendons and dragon horns, which are all priceless treasures. If I kill you, I can get them all, and I can also be called a dragon slayer." After hearing what Ji Yunfan said, Longbert raised his hands and said, "Dragon crystals are worthless. I'm much more valuable than them when I'm alive. I can surrender to you and sign a master servant contract with you as long as you don't kill me." When this proposal came out, almost everyone was stunned. Aren't all the dragons in the legend high and mighty? Why is this guy in front of him? In order to live, he could even give up his freedom. Then his mind was turning rapidly, thinking about the truthfulness of what the guy in front of him said. Don't hesitate, think about it. If I become your servant, I can help you kill and set fire, and fly around on my back, to help you deal with others. As the master, you only need to give me the gems. This is such a good deal. Long shouted loudly, as if he was afraid that Ji Yunfan would not agree. Is this guy a dragon? Except for greed, it seems that he has nothing to do with the dragon clan in other aspects. Ji Yunfan couldn't help but say to Carl. Ji Yunfan looked at this timid Long with a mixture of laughter and tears. For a moment, he was stunned and didn't know what to do. Although he had this plan at the beginning, it was just too easy to get it, which made him feel a little awkward. What the hell is going on? Carol suddenly walked up to Ji Yunfan and urged him. Saint Dante, agree to him. Quickly agree to him. As long as he signs a contract with you, he will be your subordinate who cannot disobey, and magical beasts with human form generally have the qualifications to enter the saint rank. Chapter 458 Potential. You actually have the qualifications to enter the saint rank. Little Long, tell me what this underground world is like. Ji Yunfan looked at Long, who had turned into a human form. He didn't expect that this guy actually had the qualifications to enter the saint rank. Dear sir, I don't know much about the underground world. I have only been in the underground world for 3 or 4 months. Long explained. You are not a native creature of the underground world. Ji Yunfan looked at him with some surprise and said, yes, sir, I come from a world called the True Dragon Realm, where all kinds of dragons live. Later, 2 very powerful dragons tore the space apart during the fight. I accidentally fell into the space crack and came here. Filong said with a sad face. Then how did you become the guardian beast of the Dark Elves? When I first came to the underground world, I was very scared and kept hiding in the valley. Later I met some underground people. They attacked me for no reason. At first I thought they were very powerful, but I easily got rid of them. Only then did I realize that the underground world is so much worse than our true dragon realm. 3 months ago, a dark elf came to me. It was the woman named Andy. The woman told me to be their patron saint, and they would offer sacrifices to me according to the time. This flying dragon was not from the underground world. Yunfan thought about it silently for a while and continued, since this is not your home, why don't you go back? How is it possible to go back? I can't tear the space apart with my strength. Besides, it's so good here, why should I go back? I didn't expect this guy to be from the true dragon realm. Sakadin's tone was a little surprised. Do you know the true dragon realm he mentioned? I've heard of the true dragon realm, but I've never been there. The true dragon realm can also be called the true dragon plane. It is one of the planes parallel to the divine continent. It is the home of the dragon clan. Sakadin explained. The dragon clan has a very strict hierarchy. A flying dragon like this can be said to be the lowest level in the dragon clan. It has no status at all in the true dragon realm. So that's how it is. Okay, I agree to your request. Now you and I will sign a master servant contract immediately, otherwise I will kill you immediately. As soon as this sentence came out, the flying dragon bird suddenly panicked, opened his mouth and quickly chanted the dragon spell, and then a strange power suddenly rushed from Bert's body into Yunfan's body. The sudden change startled Yunfan. Just as he was about to take action, Yunfan suddenly felt that he and the flying dragon seemed to have reached some kind of mysterious connection. Master, I'm your servant now. Please don't do anything to me. Bert grinned and shouted at Yunfan. Looking at the flattering expression of the flying dragon in front of him, Yunfan felt a little regretful in his heart. Was it right or wrong to take this flying dragon as his subordinate? Okay, let's talk about this later. You should heal your injuries first. Yunfan prevaricated casually, secretly feeling the mental fluctuations just now. After Bert had just signed a contract with Yunfan, he immediately felt that there was an extremely mysterious connection between the two. According to the feedback from the contract, Yunfan could sense the location of Bert with his eyes closed. And from the feedback information, Yunfan seemed to understand a lot of things. He and the flying dragon in front of him signed a master servant contract. Yunfan could completely dominate the life and death of Bert. Time passed. It has been half a day since Yunfan subdued the flying dragon. According to the time on the surface, it should be night now. Carl and Yunfan decided to let everyone set up camp and rest. It was like a hazy phantom, as if a bird spread its wings and flew away in an instant at an extremely fast speed. In a dilapidated village on the wasteland of the underground world, some stone houses collapsed and were in a mess. Obviously, the people in this village had left long ago. This was an abandoned gathering place. Dozens of stone houses were cleaned up on the edge of the village, and Yunfan, Carol and their men gathered here. It seems that in addition to the 5 major underground cities, there are many villages. But why are these villages so desolate? Where have all the people gone? Yunfan couldn't help but mutter to himself. This underground world is actually very large, so in addition to the 5 major cities, there are many villages and tribes scattered all over the land. However, these villages and tribes are all under the management of the underground city. Once there is an important matter, they need to report to the underground city. Master, Filong said to Yunfan flatteringly, this village is not bad, right? I found it when I first came to the underground world. But at this time, no one noticed that a vague figure flashed in the distance and appeared in the dilapidated village. Yunfan was slightly startled. He found that the person coming from a distance seemed a little different. It seemed that there was someone there, but the feeling was fleeting. Dear master, what happened? Filong asked flatteringly. Saint Dante. Cal next to him was also curious. I just felt like I was being spied on, but that feeling was fleeting. Maybe I thought too much. Yunfan frowned slightly and said, okay, it's getting late now. Arrange people to patrol and everyone go to bed early. To be honest, Yunfan is getting more and more curious about this so-called underground world. What is the sky of the underground world? It seems that the whole world is suspended there. In a village in the underground world, there are some caves dug under a mountain wall. There are tall wooden fences around it. There are also some armors hanging in the caves. There are also long-haired beasts tied to tree stumps next to them. Some strong underground people, most of whom are naked, sit around and chat and laugh casually, roasting the meat of a beast. There were 10 strong men guarding the door. Someone is coming. One of the strong men shouted, and the men who were eating and drinking turned their heads to look over. One of the men in leather armor even stood up and walked over. He frowned slightly and looked outside. It seems that a group of people are rushing here. A large group of people is rushing here. Let's go check it out quickly. The leading man in leather armor frowned and said in a deep voice. A group of people came from far away, and when they got closer, these people felt relieved. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 459, Human Ancestor. The standing man in leather armor breathed a sigh of relief. The people who came are human, not other races. After saying that, he walked out of the door. No matter if they were busy or eating, they all walked out in unison. What's going on with these people? They seem surprised to see us coming. Yunfan smiled at the leader. I didn't expect to see other free human races. Hearing the other party's words, Yunfan couldn't help but frown, because he heard something unusual in the other party's words, and the situation of the human race seemed to be not very good in the underground world. We are from the Kasa tribe of the underground human race, and I'm the leader of the Kasa tribe, Toda. I don't know which human race in the underground world you are from. The leading man in leather armor asked Yunfan. Yunfan frowned slightly when he heard the other party's question. They were not from the underground world. We are not the human race of the underground world. What? You are not the human race from the underground world? Are you from the surface world? After hearing Yunfan's answer, everyone present exclaimed, as if they had encountered something extraordinary. This is no wonder. They have been living in the underground world. They have heard the legend of the surface world from their fathers more than once. It is said that there is endless food, warm sunshine, and many beautiful things in the surface world. No wonder your dress is very different from ours. It turns out that you are from the surface world. The leading man in leather armor looked at everyone and said, it seems that the human race in our underground world is not living very well. Yunfan couldn't help feeling a little uncomfortable after guessing the living conditions of the underground human race. You are right. The human race in our underground world is indeed not living very well. Most of the human race has become slaves of other races. There are very few people like our village that are lingering. The human race in the underground world said a little disappointedly. I didn't expect that the human race in the underground world is in such a bad state. Since you and I are both human races, can you tell me something about the underground world? My friend, as human race, we should help each other. I also have something to ask you. The leading man in leather armor said seriously, about the underground world. Let's go in and talk. The human race subordinate in the underground world responded, young master, please follow me. One of the human races in the underground world led Yunfan to a spacious stone house. Some time ago, the underground city launched a siege against our human race. We are a little far away, and it also affected our area. The leading man in leather armor said with a bitter smile. At this time, an underground human race outside also brought in a bowl of fruit. Did you repel the people in the underground city? Yunfan asked curiously. No, if they come, we will be dead. The leading man in leather armor shook his head slightly with a sad face, but at that time, we were also panicked, and we couldn't resist the things in the underground city. Although we escaped, many villages and tribes of the human race suffered disasters. It was so miserable. At that time, I was looking forward to the interactions of those underground cities being destroyed by the strong men of our human race, but unfortunately, Yunfan nodded. Why did the people in the underground city want to encircle and suppress our human race? What else can it be? The patron saint of our human race is in a very bad situation now. Back then, the human race was suppressed by our ancestors, and in the end it was the ancestors who came forward to negotiate with the people in the underground city, and prevented the people in the underground city from taking action within 100 years. Does it mean that the agreed 100 years have arrived? How can it be so fast? Now it has only been more than 50 years, and there is still half of the time left before the 100-year deadline. The leading man in leather armor smiled bitterly. In that case, why did the people in the underground city take action against our human race? Yunfan asked. Because some time ago, the ancestor was attacked by some people who came from nowhere, causing him to be seriously injured. The leading man in leather armor said in a low voice. I didn't expect such a change to happen. Yunfan couldn't help but take a deep breath. Can you tell me the strength of our human ancestor? Demigod. Demigod. Yunfan couldn't help but take a breath. He didn't expect the strength of the underground human ancestor to be so strong. Then how strong should the person who injured the human ancestor be? There are rumors in the underground city that the ancestor's strength has dropped very seriously because of the sneak attack last time and has fallen out of the realm of demigod. Just as everyone was talking, a young man suddenly broke in. The young man said something to the leading man in leather armor in a panic. After hearing the other party's words, Tuoda's face suddenly changed, and he shouted, "Damn bastard! Chief Tuoda, has something happened?" The emotions that had been suppressed for a long time burst out so strongly in an instant. Yunfan silently looked at the painful Tuoda and asked, "I wonder if I can help you?" Since my friend asked, I won't hide it. My wife went back to her parents' home to visit her relatives some time ago. I didn't expect to hear the news just now that the entire village was attacked by the slave hunting team in the dungeon. Now I don't know whether they are dead or alive. So I decided to take the people of the tribe to check it out. Tuoda said with a very ugly face, "If possible, rescue the human race from my wife's tribe. The slave hunting team in the dungeon." Yunfan frowned deeply. "I'll go with you. I want to see how rampant the slave hunting team in the dungeon is. Let's go." Riding the unique mount of the underground world, the mule, Yunfan and Tuoda quickly left the village and disappeared into the darkness in the distance. "Where are the leaders going?" asked another tribesman at the door. The other man in leather armor who stood there watching Yunfan and Tuoda leave shook his head and said, "I don't know." But there was a flash of desire in his eyes. But are these humans from the surface and his men really a match for the slave hunting team in the underground city? Tuoda was afraid that the people in his tribe would be greatly traumatized, so he didn't take everyone with him, and he seemed to have arranged his funeral. Chapter 460 Rescue. What if the leader and his men fail? The young man in the jacket was full of worries. He really hated the guys in the underground city because they were not strong enough. The village where Toda's wife came from was hundreds of miles away from Toda's village. He had to cross mountains and ridges all the way and arrived the next day. Each branch of the underground human race had a small village, and each village had a place to live. The residential area of the village of 100 people was in a mess. It had definitely experienced very severe destruction. It can be said that the village of 100 people is now empty. The humans living in the village are probably either fled, died, or were caught. Damn it. Tuoda angrily opened a stone door beside him. How could this happen? Damn dungeon. Damn alien race. At this moment, a sound suddenly came from a distance. Tuoda, Yunfan and others couldn't help but look in the direction of the sound. Who's coming out? A moment later, a teenager in his teens crawled out tremblingly from a distance. After seeing Tuoda and others, the boy burst into tears. "Brother-in-law, you are finally here. My sister and the others have been caught by the slave catching team in the dungeon." Woo. Woo. Hacker, do you mean that your sister is not dead? She was just taken away by the slave catching team. A hint of joy appeared on Toda's originally gloomy face. As long as she is not dead, there is still hope. I must rescue your sister. Okay, don't cry. Now tell me everything you know. I was playing outside that day, and suddenly I heard a sound of horse hooves in the distance, and then I ran over to check, and saw that the slave catching team had entered the village. I was really scared at the time. Do you know which underground city the slave catching team is from? Toda asked in a gloomy tone. I was watching from a distance, and I seemed to hear them talking about the Greedy Wolf Underground City. The Greedy Wolf Underground City? If it is them, they should not have returned to the underground city yet, and should be in a small town under the underground city. Come one by one. Well, go over. Go over. In a small town, there are werewolves at the city gate, who are checking some of the goods of the people entering the city one by one. The werewolves also have enemies, and they are also worried that someone will secretly bring in a large number of weapons. Humans. A werewolf saw the team of Yunfan and others running at high speed in the distance. Seeing that they showed no sign of slowing down, he shouted, "Stop quickly, attack the subordinate cities of my Greedy Wolf Underground City. We are going to shoot arrows." Suddenly, a lot of werewolves and archers from other underground races appeared in the small town. The archers had already drawn their bows and arrows. They would not show any mercy. Whoosh! Yunfan, who was originally riding on a mule, suddenly flew into the sky and rushed directly to the small town. An invisible wave of air swept through in an instant. The archers who were originally designed only felt that their whole bodies were light and were directly blown away by the impact. In an instant, there was no one standing in the small town. Those archers and the guys guarding the town fell one by one with bruises on their faces, and some of the unlucky ones even had fractures. But after all, they were all quite powerful underground orcs. They would not be injured if they just fell down. They suffered a little because they were caught off guard and rushed down. They did not expect that someone would be so unscrupulous. By the time they reacted, it was too late. Many people had been seriously injured. How could this happen? Who is this guy? Why is he so powerful? He, and a human dared to come here and act wild. In their eyes, the human race has always been the exploited, and they are cowardly slaves in their eyes. Assholes, you are so bold. Do you know what you are doing? Damn human race, you will pay the price for what you have done. A group of guards and archers stared at Yunfan, who was standing there like a demon god in the distance, and then looked at their empty hands, and turned around to pick up the weapons that fell on the ground. Standing not far away, Tada looked at the city and shouted angrily, "Hajin, come out." The roar of the gods and demons sounded like thunder, and everyone couldn't help but look in the direction of the sound. Yunfan frowned and stamped his foot fiercely, as if there was a loud bang. Bang. Although this small town is not big, its defense coefficient is still quite high. The city wall made of huge stones trembled violently after being stomped by Yunfan. Huge cracks appeared on the stone wall, and even ugly cracks appeared on the ground of the street below. This kick made the surrounding ground spread out like water, and the guards and archers retreated in fear. Where did this demon come from? This guy is a demon. Yunfan stomped his foot. The surrounding ground began to tremble again. A large number of cracks appeared on the thick wall, and a large amount of rubble fell. The whole town even began to tremble, as if it would collapse at any time. "Sir, I wonder what you are doing here?" The guards and archers who were originally thinking of killing Yunfan and the others begged with sad faces, "If we have offended you in any way, I hope you can forgive us." Boom boom. Before the werewolves in the underground city could finish their words, the huge stone wall that was already cracked inside finally collapsed, and a large number of huge stones rolled down. In an instant, the whole town became a ruin. The tall wall fell directly on the street. This ruined scene stunned the people who had already hidden far away. They seemed to have never thought that a person could have such a powerful force. Saint level? The human in front of them turned out to be a saint level strongman. Oh my god, the whole city is destroyed like this? Everyone couldn't believe it. Even if it was just a small city, the walls were the thickest and most stable. Even if they came to attack the city, the swords and knives would only leave mark on the surface at most. How could any saint level strongman come to attack such a small city? The soldiers and two Oda behind Yunfan quickly arrived at the ruins. The werewolf Hajin was sitting in a stone house eating blood food. "Hajin, come out." An angry shout suddenly sounded. Hajin's eyes widened suddenly. Someone dared to come to the town under my jurisdiction to cause trouble. He really doesn't want to live. Then there were two loud noises that made Hajin's face change, and he immediately turned into a stream of light and flew out quickly. Chapter 461, Yunfan's Horror. About 10 minutes later, Hagen, the strongest man in this town, had already arrived at the city gate, where the loud noise came from. When he saw the gate that had collapsed into ruins, Hagen's wolf eyes suddenly turned red, destroying the city gate. This was simply a naked slap in his face, leaving no room for maneuver. Where would he put his face? Exclamation mark. Are you Hagen? Yunfan stood on the ruins and shouted at the werewolf who suddenly appeared. The werewolf Hagen looked at Yunfan with an ugly face. No matter who you are, you can't trample on the face of my greedy wolf underground city. After saying that, a black chain appeared in his hand, and he swung the chain in his hand and attacked Yunfan. Although Yunfan's momentum frightened him, he did not think of Yunfan as a saint, otherwise he would not dare to do it, even if he had 10,000 courage. Whoosh! Yunfan suddenly swung his fist and rushed out, faintly like thunder roaring out. It was so fast that it was terrible. Bang! Yunfan punched the werewolf Hagen in the chest, causing him to fly backwards, leaving a deep groove on the ground, and his whole body sank into the ground. Then the werewolf Hagen jumped out and covered his chest with blood on the corner of his mouth, looking at Yunfan in horror. You, who are you? Why are you attacking my greedy wolf dungeon? This guy in front of him. How could he be so fast? His weapon couldn't even attack Yunfan, and he was knocked away by Yunfan's punch. Fortunately, he had magic armor to protect his body, otherwise, he might not even be able to get up now. Yunfan smiled and said, "You are the master of this city, werewolf Hagen." Swish. At this time, another grey figure appeared. It was another werewolf in grey clothes. As soon as this werewolf appeared, he supported Hagen. "Hagen, are you okay?" "I'm fine, Rick, but you must be careful. He is very powerful," Hagen whispered. The werewolf in grey looked at Yunfan and shouted, "I don't know how our small town of Kassa offended you. Also, who are you? You destroyed my city gate, but you dare not even say your name." Yunfan said coldly, "Humans." "Humans?" The werewolf in grey was puzzled. "It's incredible that humans are so powerful. Human boy, do you want to start a war between our underground city and your human race? Don't talk so high-soundingly. Don't you know what you have done?" Tuoda said viciously to the wolves. "What could we have done? Just 4 days ago." 4 days ago. The werewolf Hagen was shocked and whispered to the werewolf next to him, "Rick, wasn't the slave catching team from the dungeon here 4 days ago? How is it possible? Didn't they just attack a small village of 100 people? How could there be such a powerful person in a small village? The slave catching team was here 4 days ago, and they captured some human slaves. If that's the case, then it's troublesome." The werewolf's face sank slightly. "Respected human warrior, if you are talking about the slave catching team 4 days ago, then you really have found the wrong person. The slave catching team belongs to the greedy wolf dungeon, not the people we sent out. Even if you demolish our small town, it will be useless." The human boy in front of them did not look very old, but his strength was so strong that they did not think of him as a saint. In their opinion, he should have reached the 8th level Sky Warrior level. It is possible to become a saint in your 20s, if it is the golden age of cultivation on the mainland. But now that we have reached the Black Iron Age, it is impossible for a saint in his 20s, just like him. However, the current dungeon no longer has a complete inheritance. Because of the lack of inheritance, the later it is, the more powerless it becomes. The strong always have the right to speak. Although they hate Yunfan very much, they still admit defeat in the face of absolute strength. Since you know what happened 4 days ago, you must also know where the slave catching team is. Slave catching team? The werewolf looked at the young man in front of him. Their small town is in the territory of the greedy wolf underground city, and is under the jurisdiction of the other party. It is easy for the greedy wolf underground city to destroy the small town. If they leak the news of the greedy wolf underground city slave catching team, who knows what kind of punishment they will suffer? He felt that he was in a dilemma. "City Lord." Suddenly a voice sounded. A team of hundreds of werewolves appeared in the distance. When they saw Hagen standing on the ruins, the leader was so shocked that he knelt on one knee. The other werewolves also shouted respectfully, "City Lord, get up." Hagen looked at him and said. He had a personal guard in the city. The whole personal guard had more than 10 people, and also had the function of surveillance. Yes. The group of werewolf personal guards ran over and quickly stood around Hagen. It seemed that, as long as Hagen gave an order, they would fight Yunfan to the death. Hagen showed a hesitant look on his face. He was not sure whether to go to war with the human boy in front of him. He had no idea how strong the opponent was. If the opponent slaughtered his personal guards, then he would really be finished. This young master of the human race. The werewolf Hagen bowed slightly. Since the people of the slave catching team have angered you, my small city of Kuska will naturally not be partial. Grease, why don't you go and bring the people of the slave catching team quickly? A werewolf named Grease beside him left in a hurry. Just one master gave them an irresistible feeling. Since they couldn't deal with the humans in front of them, they might as well let the people in the greedy wolf underground city deal with them. If these humans were really dealt with by the people in the greedy wolf underground city, they would just treat these humans as new slaves, and the slave catching team should not convict him. If these people dealt with the people in the greedy wolf underground city, it would not be a big deal. At most, he would hide some facts and report to the greedy wolf underground city. The so-called the emperor is far away from the mountains is like this. Even the greedy wolf underground city cannot represent anything. After all, there is no order without rules. The people in the greedy wolf dragon underground city can't do whatever they want. Otherwise how can so many small cities surrender with peace of mind? I can't care so much. I can escape a disaster if I can. If I provoke the human race in front of me, they won't tell you any reason. You treat them as slaves, and you don't allow them to resist? Train these humans well for me. As slaves, they must act like slaves. If there are any resistances, just kill them. Chapter 462 Cold-Blooded. The person who said this was a fair-skinned werewolf, but his eyes were often filled with hostility. At this moment, he was holding a whip and looking at a group of humans hiding in the corner. Yes, Captain. I saw another werewolf not far away slamming his long whip at the humans in the corner. Suddenly, Kada, come out. A roar spread. The captain of the slave hunting team in the Kuska underground city changed his face. How dare you be so presumptuous, shouting my name. It seems that the person who comes is not an ordinary person. Who is so blind? How dare you provoke the captain? After hearing the shouting outside, another werewolf holding a whip next to Kuska shuddered involuntarily. Bang bang. Only two loud noises were heard from outside. It was the sound of someone stomping on the ground to attract attention, but the sound seemed to hit his heart, causing Kuska's face to change involuntarily. He was a little flustered, as if something bad was going to happen. What's going on? Who is it? Who is looking for me? Without caring about anything else, Kuska hurriedly walked outside. Captain, what's going on? The stone house was in chaos, and some of his other werewolves were also worried, while others were gloating. I don't know. It looks like someone is looking for trouble with me. Let's go out and take a look. Kuska walked out. Just after walking out of the stone house, a black figure flew over from a distance and appeared directly in front of Kuska. Kuska was shocked at the sight. Who are you? How dare you touch me? Yunfan, with an ugly face, looked at him coldly. Don't you know what good things you have done? Then he grabbed Kuska's neck, as if holding a chicken. Whoosh. Then he turned into a shadow and quickly rushed to the place where he came from. Who are you? How dare you mess with me? I'm the messenger of the greedy wolf underground city. Aren't you afraid that the people in my underground city will come and destroy you? Kuska yelled, as if Yunfan had committed a serious crime. This person is Kuska. Ask him if you have any questions. Yunfan threw the werewolf Kuska to the ground and then said to Tuoda. Who are you? How dare you mess with our greedy wolf underground city? Damn bastard. Tell me quickly, where is my wife? Otherwise, I will kill you now. Do you believe it? Tuoda shouted loudly. Where is your wife? How do I know? Kuska said. You led people to attack their village and capture them. You dare to tell me that you don't know where they are? What did you say? You are from that village. Kuska looked at Tuo who was questioning him in disbelief. You are a lowly human from that village. I didn't expect you to dare to come here and make trouble. Do you know who I am? I'm the grandson of the third elder of the underground city. If you dare to harm me, everyone in your village will die. It's come to this time, and you still dare to threaten me. Even if I die, I will make you be buried with me. Tuo stared at Kuska with red eyes. At this time, Hagen, the mayor of the small town, had also walked over. On the cracked street, Hajin said on the side, "Sir, Kada is guilty of death for provoking you, but considering that he is still young and is the grandson of the third elder, I wonder if you can spare his life. In the underground city, even if there is a war between each other, money and property can be used to exchange for the lives of some captives." Tuoda looked at Hajin coldly and said nothing. "Damn bastard Hajin, do you know what you just said? You dare to say that I deserve death? If I'm alive, I will tear you into pieces." Kada roared loudly, as if he was insulted after hearing what Hajin said. "This idiot, can't he even hear that I'm speaking for him? If that's the case, you should die and be reborn soon." Hajin's eyes flashed with cold light. "What's going on? What happened here? Just now, I seemed to see someone catching the members of the Greedy Wolf Underground City slave catching team. Some other underground tribes who came to the small town to buy and sell goods were gathering here quickly. Impossible. Someone dared to offend the people in the underground city. Do they want to live?" Many people began to shout. More and more people were watching, and Hajin saw this and immediately shouted, "Let the irrelevant people get out of here." What he was going to do was not allowed to be seen in public. If others told others that he was intentionally harming the members of the slave catching team, it was easy to imagine what would happen to him. Yes. Hajin's personal guards in the small town obeyed the order and began to drive the underground residents away, prohibiting them from getting too close. "Drive everyone else away. Get out of the way. Get out of here quickly. Don't wander around here, otherwise you will be in danger of losing your life." A group of werewolves were seen running from the distant street, each holding a bow and crossbow. It was obvious that they heard those voices before and were afraid that they were hostile forces, so they brought their own people and horses to rush over quickly. "Captain." A werewolf led the team to rush over, and his face became very ugly when he saw Kada lying on the ground. "Who are you? How dare you arrest the captain of our slave catching team?" Yunfan only took a glance and knew the identity of this team. "This is the slave catching team of the Greedy Wolf Underground City." Wush, a black shadow also came quickly and did not stop until it was close to the slave catching team. The members of the slave catching team wanted to stop the black shadow, but when the black shadow stopped, they were frightened. "Butler! Butler! Save me!" Seeing the black shadow, Kada shouted excitedly. The black shadow had a cold face and went straight through the crowd. The members of the slave catching team looked at the black shadow in confusion. This black-clothed wolf man was the butler of the third elder's family. He was also highly valued by the third elder and had a very high status in the underground city. If the third elder was not worried that something might happen to his grandson, according to Kada's identity, it would be impossible for such a person to stay by his side. Bang! The black-clothed butler kicked Kada fiercely. Kada fell face first onto the broken rock ground. His face was scratched and covered with dust. He even raised his head and stood up to look around, and soon locked onto the shadow werewolf butler, who seemed to be stunned by the butler's kick. "Old butler, what do you mean by this?" "My friend, I'm teaching my grandson a lesson on behalf of my master. I hope my friend can forgive me and let him go." Chapter 463 Compromise. After the shadowy steward came, he spoke directly to Yunfan. "Are you a half-saint?" Yunfan examined the black-clad man in front of him. He felt a very disgusting aura from the black-clad man. This aura had nothing to do with strength, and he could not help but feel a wave of killing impulses in his heart. The black-clad werewolf steward could feel a sense of power from the young man. In front of this young man, he seemed to be stronger than his own master. "Bring all the slaves captured a few days ago." The black-clad werewolf steward ordered the others. The people of the underground city slave catching team hesitated for a moment, responded and turned away, and soon brought all the slaves captured some time ago. The slaves were all covered with whip marks and tortured beyond recognition. Yada, the arrogant, finally saw his wife, who was worried about him, but at this time Yada was already dying. "Ada, I didn't expect to see you. It's really so good." The woman was already out of breath when she spoke. Yunfan took out a level 4 life potion from his space ring and handed it to Tuoda beside him. Tuoda took the potion with great gratitude, quickly opened the potion bottle stopper, and poured the level 4 life potion into his wife's mouth. After being nourished by the life potion, the woman's pale face had a hint of blood. Yada, how do you feel? To Oda, I feel much better now. Yada. To Oda whispered softly, you will be fine. Yunfan's eyes seemed to fall on the werewolves in front of him like a sharp knife. You are fine. Yunfan's voice was very light, but the werewolves present felt a chill in their hearts. He could feel the murderous intent contained in Yunfan's voice. The black-clothed werewolf butler stared at Yunfan. Young man, are you really not going to save face for our dungeon? Yes. Yunfan nodded and said decisively. There was silence all around. Hajin just watched. The other core members of the slave-catching team just watched from the side. They could all see that this young man who came from nowhere was so powerful that even the housekeeper and the others had to succumb. Moreover, he was obviously very murderous. They also sighed silently. Kada, who had unlimited glory, would die today. Damn bastard, are you really going to kill me? Kada's face was not afraid at all, but rather determined. What if I kill you? Yunfan looked at him expressionlessly. Wow. The Daoluo sword appeared out of thin air in Yunfan's hand. With a flash of sword light, it directly slashed Kada's body, causing a burst of exclamations. The black-clothed werewolf housekeeper just watched calmly. Even if Yunfan killed Kada with a sword, they would not say much. Blood flowed from the werewolf Kada's body. He widened his eyes and looked at Yunfan in disbelief, because he never thought that Yunfan would start fighting. As soon as he said, all the members of the slave-catching team deserve to die. All the members of the slave-catching team were killed, and Yunfan left the town with Tuoda and others. The black-clothed werewolf butler looked at the departing team expressionlessly, and a ruthless light flashed in his eyes, which was fleeting. Why did you let these people go? They killed the young master. Hajin asked beside the werewolf butler. What if you don't let them leave? That young man is very powerful. If I'm not mistaken, he should have reached the peak of a semi-saint. I didn't expect that man to be so powerful. Hajin couldn't help but exclaimed. When did such a person appear in the human race? I have a feeling that, if he is allowed to grow, there may be another ancestor of the human race. The black-clothed werewolf butler said in a flat tone, so this guy must die. In that case, why did you let him go? Because I'm not sure I can keep him now. After saying that, the black-clothed werewolf butler turned and left. To be honest, when the black werewolf butler appeared just now, Hajin's heart was in his throat. He never expected that the werewolf butler would suddenly appear here. It's just that he didn't guess the beginning or the ending correctly. The werewolf butler would actually watch Kada being killed by the human, because of the other party's strength. Friend, Tuoda couldn't help but said, you shouldn't have been so impulsive just now. If you kill their young master, you will probably have trouble moving in the underground city. I heard that he is the grandson of the third elder, and the third elder has always doted on his grandson. If you leave him alone, I'm afraid it will be disadvantageous to you in the future. Yunfan smiled slightly. Although I'm not a good person, I will never allow the aliens to bully our human race like this. Sooner or later, I will fight with those people in the underground city. It's just a matter of time, so you don't have to care. But, Yunfan sighed, you mean to say that I'm a little too soft-hearted, right? Since you have chosen to compete with them, why don't you get rid of that small town? I know you hate the aliens in the underground city very much, but I have my own code of conduct. If I'm asked to destroy a small town for no reason, I really can't do it. But villages go to war with each other to eliminate the threat. Tuoda said. I know. Yunfan nodded. For survival, it's understandable to do whatever it takes. But can a small town affect me? And if our human race wants to grow stronger, hatred alone can't solve the problem. We still have to be strong. Tuoda was thoughtful. Even if you don't offend others, if you are not strong, others will still destroy you. Just like the human race in the underground world now. Yunfan said lightly. And if you are strong, those enemies will be unwilling in secret, but still have to be respectful on the surface. This is why our human race will end up like this, after losing our ancestor. And the strong practice, more emphasis on the heart, the heaven is vigorous, and we should strive for self-improvement. Yunfan said. When breaking through the saint level, Yunfan knew very well that a practitioner must point directly to his heart. The more thorough and clear the heart is, the faster he can make progress in strength. Going against your conscience and making yourself miserable? Ji Yunfan shook his head. Ji Yunfan, will only kill one person if I want to kill him, and will not harm his wife and children. This is my true heart. This is also my code of conduct. No matter what others say, as long as I hold on to my true heart, that's all. In his previous life, he was able to achieve what others didn't have, because he put in several times the effort of others, and people who were alone would get used to thinking. The more they thought, some became crazy, while others saw through their own hearts and became wise. Ji Yunfan saw through his own heart, which made him more open-minded and calm. Chapter 464 The Weird Little Guy. After hearing Ji Yunfan's words, the others present were slightly stunned. This guy's words are so profound. What original intention? What principle? What are these things? Is this the reason to become a strong man? I really said too much. They don't have the same experience of traveling through time as me, and they don't have the same cultural background as me. It will be very difficult for them to understand what I said. Okay. Ji Yunfan saw the expressions of the crowd and shook his head. Don't think about it. Let's go back. Ji Yunfan naturally didn't know that not long after he left, the werewolf butler returned to the greedy wolf dungeon and reported everything to the third elder. After hearing that his grandson was killed, the third elder's face became extremely ugly. Are you saying that a master has appeared in the human race again? And he killed my grandson? You were there at the time. Why didn't you kill that human boy? Elder, I think you should know my special abilities. After hearing the words of the butler, the third elder couldn't help but frown slightly. Did you feel something? A voice told me faintly that if I attack that human boy, I would definitely be killed by that human boy. The werewolf butler said solemnly. What? How is this possible? You are a powerful half-saint. Could it be that the human kid has reached the saint level? To be disrespectful to the elder, although I don't want to admit it, the feeling that guy gave me is even stronger than when I faced you. He is very strong, so strong that I dare not take action. I know about this matter. I will discuss it with the clan leader. If that kid is really as powerful as you said, we must contact other dungeons to cooperate. The plan to turn the human race into slaves is not a decision made by our greedy wolf dungeon alone. At this time, Ji Yunfan suddenly felt a very weak mental fluctuation. The mental fluctuation was fleeting and disappeared in a blink of an eye, but it was still felt by the careful Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan couldn't help but frowned. Master Dante, what's wrong with you? Is there any problem? Tuoda said with some curiosity. Since rescuing his wife, Tuoda insisted on calling Ji Yunfan master. After Ji Yunfan persuaded him many times in vain, he accepted this title. Just now I felt a very subtle mental fluctuation, as if someone was secretly following us. Ji Yunfan said. Could it be the werewolf butler in the dungeon? Tuoda's face changed instantly. No, that very subtle mental fluctuation is completely different from the one coming from the butler. Ji Yunfan said in a calm tone. Could it be that only some small monster passed by here and was sensed by you, sir? That feeling doesn't seem to come from the monster. Ji Yunfan said, and released his contracted shadow demon. After a while, he found a very thin figure behind a boulder. Ji Yunfan was slightly surprised by this discovery. If he hadn't been discovered by the shadow demons prying, he wouldn't have revealed any other breath. Little guy, who are you? It's not a good habit to secretly spy on others. Ji Yunfan raised the corner of his mouth slightly and said with a smile. What little guy? Tuoda was slightly stunned when he heard Ji Yunfan's words and curiously tried to find the little guy around, as if he wanted to find him. My lord, there is no little guy here. Is there something wrong with your perception? Little guy, how long are you going to stay there? Do you want me to invite you out personally? Ji Yunfan continued. At this moment, the little guy suddenly trembled. He had a feeling that his whereabouts seemed to have been mastered by the young man in front of him. After a series of psychological struggles, the little guy finally chose to come out. When they saw someone coming out, except for Ji Yunfan, everyone else took up their weapons one by one. Now in front of everyone is a teenager of 16 or 17 years old. The teenager was wearing a leather coat and was covered in dust like a refugee. After everyone found that the teenager was an ordinary human teenager, they breathed a sigh of relief and put down their weapons. "Little guy, who are you? Why are you following us?" the arrogant man couldn't help but ask. The little guy knelt down and said to Yunfan and others, "My lord, please save our village." "Little guy, get up and talk," Yunfan said in a flat tone. The arrogant man took a few steps forward and helped the boy up. "My lord, I don't like others to kneel down to me. If you have anything to say, please speak up first." The boy seemed a little nervous and said in a timid voice, "Some time ago, a very terrible tribe came to our village. They enslaved all the people in the village. I would like to ask you to rescue my people." The boy was a little weak and walked out with his head down, looking a little nervous and uneasy. The boy, who was originally simple and happy, has become very unconfident and no longer sunny because of a series of changes in recent days. He is not so smooth when speaking in front of everyone and seems uneasy. "What's going on, little guy? Can you tell me in detail?" Yunfan frowned slightly. "The whole village has been enslaved. Why are you here?" "Because when I was a child, I awakened a very special ability. If I don't speak and hide, ordinary people can't sense my existence." The boy's tone is still weak, which makes people feel pity and stand there awkwardly. Yunfan couldn't help but use his mental power to spy on the boy, as if he wanted to sense the truth from the boy. "How did you find us?" "I was very scared when I left the village alone. Later, I found out that the adults were all human, so I followed them. After seeing the adults making a big fuss in the town, I thought the adults should be able to help me save the village. But I didn't know how to tell you adults, so I kept following behind." The boy said timidly. "I didn't expect someone to enslave a human tribe," said the arrogant man angrily. Yunfan frowned even deeper. He vaguely felt that this matter was not as simple as the boy said. The boy seemed to be hiding something from him. Chapter 465 Arrangement. However, Yunfan was also very curious about the boy's real intention. Yunfan looked at the boy meaningfully. "Sir, are you not going to that village?" Tuoda couldn't help asking when he saw Yunfan's indifferent look. "No hurry." Yunfan shook his head. "I'll go back first and arrange the people we rescued, and then go to rescue people. Besides, this matter is not as simple as you think. You don't want your wife to take risks with you. Let's go." Yunfan tapped the belly of the black mule lightly, and the mule immediately accelerated and ran. The others also followed and headed towards Tuoda's village. The original village road had long been abandoned. Tuoda decided to put all the rescued humans in their village, traveling during the day and resting late at night. With the speed of the mule beast crossing mountains and ridges, it took a long time to get back. "Our chief is back." Several human guards came over from afar in high spirits. It seemed that they were very happy that their chief could return safely. Yunfan got off the mule and looked at everyone who nodded. Carol also came from afar. "Arrange the people in Yada village. From today on, they will all live with us." Tuoda ordered the tribesmen around him. "Yes." The tribesmen beside Tuoda responded respectfully. Yunfan said, and then cast his eyes on the boy, who was about 16 or 17 years old. "Do you still know the way to your village?" "Of course, sir. How could I forget the way here?" "In that case, please show the way." "Sir, won't you let me gather all the people?" Tuoda asked. "Leave the affairs of their village to me. This is not going to war. It is not necessarily a good thing to have more people." Yunfan responded in a flat tone. "I'm going alone. Don't worry, if I can't solve it alone, it won't help, no matter how many people I bring." Yunfan said solemnly. Tuoda and others have already understood Yunfan's strength. Although they don't know how far he has reached, he can be described as unfathomable in his mind. "Captain Carl, I originally thought that going underground was just an adventure and I would be able to go back soon. But after seeing the situation of the human race in the underground world, I decided to stay for a while. If you want to go back, go back." Yunfan said to Captain Carl, who was standing beside him. "I must report the underground world to the Empire, otherwise who knows what kind of trouble will arise." Carl thought for a moment and finally made a decision. "If possible, I will suggest to His Majesty that he send troops to support us." "Your suggestion is indeed good." "Master, are you going back to the world above ground?" "Oh, great. I have never been to the human world above ground, and now I can finally go out and see it." Bert was very excited when he heard that Tuoda and others were going to return to the world above ground and cheered happily. "It's Commander Carl. They have to return to the world above ground first, and you have to stay in the underground world for a while," Yunfan said. "So that's how it is." Bert responded with some disappointment. Then Yunfan made return to his true form, and then took the boy, rode on the flying dragon, and went in the direction the boy pointed. The dragon and the two of them disappeared in the sight of everyone. This made the human race who saw Filang's true form for the first time stare with their eyes wide open, and it was unbelievable. "Tell me, how many people are there in your village? What is the strength of each person in the distribution of troops in your village, so that we can sneak in secretly?" "My lord, you are ready. There is a saying in our hometown that goes, catch the leader first. As long as we catch the person who enslaved your village, we will not be afraid of not being able to rescue the other people in your village," Yunfan said in a calm tone. "My lord is really wise. There are 134 households in our village, with a total of more than 500 people, including the elderly and children, and 300 of them are called combat forces. If I'm not mistaken, the guy who enslaved our village should live in the old village chief's house," the young man said respectfully, standing beside Yunfan. Nodding, Yunfan said expressionlessly, "We must be careful when we get there. In your village, the people in your village are very familiar with the surrounding terrain and can use the terrain to help us, which may cause us a lot of trouble. Although they are now controlled by others, I don't want to hurt them." Looking at the boy in front of him strangely, Yunfan frowned and asked, "What is the strength of this guy who enslaved your village?" "Well, I don't know much about this, but I know he can fly." The boy thought for a while and said, "Can he fly? If he is not a wind magician, he must reach the level of an 8th level sky warrior or a sky mage. It's really a little difficult to deal with. If we just deal with this guy, it's okay. But," Yunfan nodded slightly and said, "a desperate dog will jump over the wall." Yunfan is really afraid that the guy will use some despicable means. The laser lake plane is now one of the 3 major planes in the underground world. It is not only inhabited by countless human races, but also countless alien races and monsters. The 5 underground cities also arranged countless scattered teams. These scattered teams had no fixed organization and were scattered in different locations of the laser lake plane. Since the ancestor of the human race was injured, most of the human race active on the plane were driven out. The laser lake plane, which was 1,000 miles in radius, was so vast that you couldn't see the end at a glance. From time to time, a demon beast would jump out of such a large plane. Yunfan landed on the ground and looked at the laser lake plane from a distance. He whispered, "I didn't expect that there was such a magnificent place in the underground world. But this place is very interesting. If it were an ordinary person, I'm afraid my strength would be suppressed a lot here. But what secrets does this plane have?" Just when he landed on the plane, he felt a strong repressive force coming from the plane. Yunfan vaguely felt that, if he took action here, his strength would not be able to play out even 10%. But this was when he didn't use the power of the saint level. When he used the power of the saint level, that kind of repression did not exist. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 466 Special. Not all saints are like him, who can resist the pressure brought by the plane. Yunfan has a feeling that this place will bring him extraordinary benefits. Although I'm strong now, I'm afraid that I'm a little weaker than the peak saints. But here I feel that I can fight against people at the demigod level. Yunfan thought to himself. Whoosh. Yunfan took a step. This place is very special. Sir, this laser lake plane is of course special. It is said that many gods fell here in the past. The young man said with a gleam in his eyes. Is this place so terrifying? Yunfan couldn't help but frown slightly. At the same time, he was secretly observing the young man's every move. There is definitely something wrong with this guy. Because just when he entered the laser-like plane, Yunfan suddenly felt a very weak mental fluctuation from the young man. Although Yunfan didn't know what the mental fluctuation was used for, Yunfan felt that things were not as simple as they seemed. However, this young man thought he was hiding very deeply, and Yunfan would never find that he had a problem. Yunfan suddenly released his spiritual power, spreading along the laser-like plane. At this moment, he suddenly felt something, and stood there motionless. There was a breath of transcendence and transcendence. At this moment, he looked elegant and detached, like a god who was not in touch with the world. But his inner world at this moment was not as peaceful as his body, because the origin fire in his body actually sent him a very long message, which was indescribable and as profound as the sea, as if facing the whole world. What do you mean? It was like an ancient Zen chant, and it was like the call of a god. It was endless, cutting through the entire plane, and slowly flowing into Yunfan's mind, shaking his heart and his thoughts. He didn't know where he was. At this moment, Yunfan seemed to see a purple crystal in his mind, and the crystal bloomed with brilliant light. Yunfan suddenly had an idea in his mind. After owning this crystal, it can ascend to heaven in one step. What on earth is going on? Could that crystal be some kind of treasure? Yunfan couldn't help but frown. There were too many unknown things when he came to the underground world, which made him a little confused. The young man standing not far away looked at Yunfan's silence and motionlessness, and he was puzzled. He didn't know what happened. He just felt his ethereal temperament that was as pure as dust, which made him a little flustered. What on earth is wrong with this guy? Why do I have a very uneasy feeling? Damn, what on earth is going on? Yunfan stood there. The purple crystal's calling sound was distant and vast, just like welcoming its owner. All kinds of inexplicable feelings came to his mind, making him alert and confused. What on earth is that purple crystal? When Yunfan was silent, the doubts in the young man's heart became deeper and deeper. What on earth is wrong with this guy? Otherwise, he should take action against him now, so as not to make things worse. The young man circled around Yunfan twice, and felt the mighty aura of Yunfan. There was also a very strange breath in the air, as if he was facing the whole world, and he was like an ant. After a series of psychological struggles, the young man finally had some concerns in his heart, but he did not take action directly. Will there be a ghost attached to his body? The young man looked at Yunfan, and said to himself, if there is a ghost attached to his body, I will definitely find it. At this time, everyone on the plane heard a strange sound, although it was very weak and almost inaudible, but it was shocking. There was a very vicissitudes of life that seemed to be coming from a distant area, ethereal and real. Where did the sound come from? Almost all the people on the plane, whether they were humans or orcs, were shocked and looked around, but they found nothing. The ethereal feeling made them feel unreal. Could it be that I thought too much? But when they saw that their companions were also confused, they could be sure that they were not hallucinating. The feeling of facing the whole world made people feel creepy and humble for no reason. Yunfan naturally didn't know that the origin fire in his body and the strange and mysterious purple crystal on the laser-like plane had produced an incredible resonance. The people and things on the plane were shocked by this resonance. This, can't it be the world's elegy? Is that legend true? Suddenly, more voices came, like a mirage, as if they were worshipping and praying. The laser-like plane has been formed for thousands of years. There has always been a legend in the underground world. It is said that there is a core in the underground world. Whoever can control this core can become the master of the underground world, have an unparalleled status in the underground world, and control the life and death of everyone. However, everyone has always regarded this legend as a joke. The underground world is the underground world. How can there be any core? It was as if a huge sacrifice was presented in front of everyone, praying between heaven and earth. At this moment, a series of roars suddenly resounded throughout the laser-like plane, and spread across the land, as if a real picture was engraved in everyone's mind. At this moment, everyone, the monsters, and the aliens had a strange feeling, as if they had witnessed with their own eyes the scene of a world master reigning over the underground world, and dominating the world, followed by an unprecedented memorial service. At the same time, the masters hidden in the entire underground world could not help but look in the direction of the Lazelic plain. In the greedy wolf underground city, a silver giant wolf howled to the sky. After waiting for so many years, it's finally today. The world crystal is finally going to be released. In the bloodthirsty underground city, in a basement, a huge blood-colored bat also howled to the sky. What is coming is finally coming. In the crazy python underground city, a green giant python swallowing the sky. In the destruction underground city, a weirdo covered in black fog. In the dark underground city, an extremely old dark elf. The auras of these guys all show their powerful strength. Chapter 467, The Hidden Strong One. If Yunfan saw this, he would be shocked. Each of these people is much stronger than himself. They have reached the peak of the demigod level in this world, and are only one step away from becoming a god. Yunfan still knows nothing about what is happening outside, but even if he knows, he will not be afraid of anything. In fact, there is no picture. All of this is the association after hearing those vague mysterious sounds. Everyone on the Lazelic plain quickly woke up. The ethereal sound was still lingering, making everyone feel extremely mysterious. Yunfan, this is really fun. You really poked a hornet's nest this time. Sakuten suddenly said. Did you feel it too? What is that purple crystal? Why do I feel that, as long as I get it, I can control the whole world? Yunfan asked. If I'm not mistaken, that is the world crystal of this world, the core of the entire world. If you get this core, you can control the entire underground world. The blessing of the gods in our hand shines again. What kind of glory will the gods give us? On the surface continent, many temples are shining with divine light, and many statues are shining. In the nearly exhausted loss of brilliance, thousands of divine lights are flowing. Miracle. In the bone cult's station, endless dark air surged out, all rushing towards the wall of the bronze coffin in the bone cult hall, sinking into those ancient bronze carvings. The wall of the coffin was covered with strange patterns, but it was difficult to cover up the ancient glory and ancient mystery. At this moment, many places have happened extraordinary things. One by one, ancient beings woke up one after another, and they were all shining. Whether it is the surface continent or the underground world, some mysterious secret places are also filled with a mysterious power at this moment. Look, the stars in the sky have changed. Yes, it seems to be related to the mystery, and it may change the fate of not being able to become a god for thousands of years. Everyone noticed the abnormality there. The vast starry sky was also shining. Everyone was very surprised and speechless for a long time. Many people on the mainland were looking up at the starry sky and spoke one after another, all showing surprise. This starry sky map is as vast as the sea. It has not changed for thousands of years. Everyone on the mainland has become accustomed to it. But at this moment, the stars in the sky have changed, as if it indicates that a huge change has occurred in the whole world. The god star has moved, and the god is about to be conferred. The missing world lore is probably about to return. In a mysterious place, a white-haired old man said leisurely. Everyone stared at it. Under the suspected starry sky, there were several strange stars shining, which were particularly eye-catching, because these stars combined together happened to be like the hexagram in the magic circle, and it seemed that the whole world was covered by this hexagram. There are many stars as bright as the hexagram. After careful identification, many people were surprised. It is said that each star represents a god. When the god shines, it indicates that the gods will come to the world or someone will ignite the divine fire and become the god of the vast earth. The temples of the continent, the priests in the temples, are all representatives of the gods in the world. Many priests have received messages from the gods. Let their believers find the crystal of the world. The priests were dazed for a while. They are believers of the gods, but there has never been a miracle. Many priests have long doubted their beliefs. Just a moment ago, the gods actually talked to them. This is simply like a dream and very unreal. The entire continent divided the starry sky into several regions very early. Different star regions have different names, representing different gods. For thousands of years, those star regions have never been as bright as today. Everyone was stunned and extremely shocked. In the holy temple of the Holy Sea of Light, the Pope's face was gloomy. As the nominal strongest person on the continent, he felt the breath of countless strong people and the brilliance of countless gods at this moment. He knew that this was an oracle given by countless gods who were more powerful than his original body. He had noticed this world a long time ago. The reason why he sent down this clone was to find the so-called crystal of the world. What he didn't expect was that things would develop in a direction he couldn't predict. What he couldn't accept the most was that there was a starfield at the top of the extreme south that showed her unprecedented brilliance. That was the brilliance of the Lord of Light. He actually received an order from the Lord of Light, who ordered him to find the crystal of the world. He had been operating on this continent for more than 1,000 years for the crystal of the world, but in the end he made wedding clothes for others. Although he was extremely angry in his heart, he was helpless. He didn't even dare to show his anger. What kind of changes will the gods bring about when they send down the oracle? Many strong people on the continent were guessing. Does it mean that the gods are really going to return to the continent? But is this good or bad for the continent? Maybe we will see the legendary gods. Everyone was extremely nervous, but at the same time full of expectations. Can my destruction clan stand in this world? It depends on this fight for the world crystal. In the endless darkness, many powerful people are planning something. Endless continent, boundless starry sky. Many professionals speculated where the former strong people on the continent went. In the past thousands of years, professionals have made endless speculations, but the deep starry sky and the unpredictable universe are like a desolate cemetery, cold and desolate, with eternal coldness and darkness. They have never thought of exploring the starry sky. The starry sky is too vast and has no end at all. With the ability of professionals, even if they can get rid of the gravity of the galaxy, it is difficult to reach the other side of the starry sky and come to the stars with endless flight. No one knows the continent. Because of that war, Sword God Houston set a seal, and the gods could no longer stay in this world. These gods have only two ways to go. One is to ascend to other worlds such as the God continent. The other way is to hold up the kingdom of God and entrust the kingdom of God to the endless void. Every star is actually a kingdom of God dragged up by a god. If these gods want to return to the main road, they need to change the laws of this world again, and the crystal of this world is the key among the keys. The gods have been away for too long, and they don't want to wander outside anymore. Chapter 468 Apostles of the Gods. And this world crystal can allow them to go one step further. At this time, a meteor shower fell from the sky, and the gods in the starry sky sent their most loyal servants. 9 huge monsters pulled the bronze carriage, crossed the other side of the stars, and crossed into this starfield. It was at this time that Yunfan woke up. Those mysteries made him a little overwhelmed, as if he could never erase them, and as if he had never had them. Yunfan was stunned, and said to himself, "World crystal. It seems that this underground world is getting more and more interesting, but I don't know if I can get the world crystal of this underground world in the end." "Are you okay, sir?" The boy pretended to be very concerned. "I'm fine." While the two of them were talking, the whole earth suddenly shook, and everyone felt dizzy. At this moment, the vast starry sky bloomed with divine light, supporting a hazy light curtain. Light. Divine light. I saw the divine light. Is that the world of light? What happened in the laser lake plane? The various tribes in the underground world of the laser lake plane could not help but shout. The darkness and bloody loneliness of the laser lake plane were no longer in front of them. The special light even blew towards them, and even brought the smell of soil and the fragrance of flowers and plants, as if they had suddenly entered a world of light. The leaders of the major forces in the underground world called their confidants to their side one by one, and issued an order to find the world crystal. However, none of the demigod level masters wanted to do it themselves, because the laser lake plane was too strange. Anyone who entered the laser lake plane area would be greatly suppressed. The higher the strength, the more severe the suppression. The demigod level masters could only exert the strength of the middle level saint there. Once they encountered multiple saint level masters, even the demigod level masters would fall. Although they all wanted to get the world crystal, they did not want to take the risk themselves. In an instant, the situation in the laser lake plane changed suddenly. "What is your purpose in asking me to come here?" Feeling this series of changes, Yunfan no longer hid, but spoke directly. "I don't understand what you are saying, sir." The young man said vaguely. Don't you understand? You know it very well in your heart. Didn't you want to lead me to the laser-lake plane from the beginning? What village was enslaved? It was all a story you made up, wasn't it? Yunfan said calmly. When did you find out that I had a problem? The young man no longer concealed it, but looked at Yunfan with interest. If it was someone else, it would really be impossible for you to hide it, but I like to study some psychology when I was in my hometown. Yunfan said. What is psychology? The young man asked curiously. Don't worry about what psychology is. Now tell me, who are you? What is your purpose in leading me to the laser-lake plane? Yunfan stared at the young man intently. If Yunfan was not very curious about the secrets of this young man, he would not have followed this young man to the laser-lake plane. You will know soon. At this moment, Yunfan suddenly felt a very strange fluctuation from the boy, and then the boy disappeared. That kid is so weird. I can't even sense the spatial fluctuation. How did he disappear? Yunfan couldn't help but frowned. If I'm not mistaken, that kid has mastered a trace of the origin of this world. Sakadan said. Do you mean that the world crystal has an owner? Yunfan was slightly stunned and said. I didn't say that the world crystal has an owner. I said that the kid has a way to use the power of the world crystal. Sakadan said. But fortunately, the kid doesn't seem to have any ill will towards you. Otherwise, just relying on the kid's control of a trace of the power of the world crystal, you will have enough trouble. Sakadan said. Since the kid has no ill will towards me, why did he lure me here? Yunfan frowned and was full of confusion. You need to explore this matter bit by bit. 3 days later, many masters from the underground world had gathered, including many human races. Forget it, let's not worry about it. Since we are here, even if we can't get the world crystal, there is no reason to return empty-handed. Although Yunfan didn't know that the topography of the entire underground world had undergone earth-shaking changes, when many masters came to the laser-lake plane, the scene in front of them was not much different from the plane scene in their memory. Yunfan stood on a mountain top that was neither high nor low, and could overlook the scenery in front of him. The scenery of the underground world is really different from that of the above ground world. Not far away are continuous peaks. Most of the grass and trees here are a little withered and yellow, with strange shaped rocks and vigorous dead trees, and old vines as thick as buckets coiled like dragons. How can there be humans here? Haven't humans been driven out of the laser-lake plane long ago? Dirty humans, leave here quickly, otherwise don't blame us for being ruthless. At this time, Yunfan suddenly heard a sound coming from behind him, and he couldn't help but head towards the direction of the sound. Not far behind him, there was a team of various aliens. Seeing the other party say the word dirty, Yunfan frowned involuntarily. The status of the human race in this underground world is really low. Yunfan naturally didn't know that the aliens in this underground world were driven here from the surface world by the human race, and the remaining human race here was stationed here to prevent these underground aliens from returning to the surface world again. However, after a series of changes, the human race in the underground world declined, and the alien race took the opportunity to become the master of the underground world. There are irreconcilable conflicts between the human race and the alien race. If it weren't for the fact that there was still an ancestor of the human race in the underground world, the alien race would have exterminated the human race in the underground world long ago. The alien races in the underground world are always thinking about entering the surface world, turning the human race that drove them into the underground world into slaves, exploiting and enslaving them for generations. This hatred has penetrated into their bones. What if I don't leave here? Yunfan raised the corner of his mouth slightly. Chapter 469 Vampire. If you don't leave here, we will have to capture you and make you a slave. One of the aliens said loudly. Shame on you. Yunfan suddenly shouted. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. The sound rolled, as if thunder spread quickly, and also spread quickly through the air to the depths of the laser-lake plane. In an instant, the alien team was stunned. Each of them had an extremely ugly face. How could they not understand that they had kicked a hard bench? Shame on you. A voice was transmitted through the air to a very far place, and many aliens were shocked by the sound. Many aliens couldn't help but look in the direction where the sound came from. What's going on? A powerful alien roared. Quickly check. Who dares to be so presumptuous in my territory? Yes. Yunfan looked at the aliens in front of him indifferently. Human, you are so bold. Do you know where this is? This is the territory of the Night King. You are challenging his majesty by doing this. Although the aliens were a little afraid of Yunfan, they still forced themselves to remain calm. Night King? Yunfan chewed on the title that the other party said. I'm watching this human here. You go report it. A leader-like figure of the alien team said to the tribe around him. Not far away, there were also aliens who were relatively close to Yunfan and the alien team. They all saw Yunfan's figure. They didn't expect that a human would appear here, but that a human seemed to be challenging their leader. I didn't expect that a human would appear here. This human is so powerful. This human dared to challenge our Night King, but this human is really brave. Just from the momentum, it is not inferior to our leader at all. Don't say anything. Go and report this matter. Many aliens were shocked and quickly began to pass the news back to their respective team leaders, but you can imagine how fast it was. Yunfan still stood there calmly. Chief, there is a human boy. The alien subordinate responded. Human boy. The alien leader looked at his subordinates with a pair of red eyes, and his subordinates trembled and nodded repeatedly. But this human boy is amazing. The alien subordinates said, and the younger brother beside him nodded. Yes. Amazing momentum. What an amazing momentum. The alien leader turned into black mist out of thin air, and then became a bat monster wearing black clothes and showing fangs. If Yunfan was here, he would definitely exclaim that this guy is just like the vampires in Western mythology on Earth. The man in black stood there, his narrow eyes full of anger and confusion. Vampires are extremely cold animals. They like darkness and live in darkness. In addition, they have been hunted down by several powerful human beings several times and often set traps, although in the end those human beings all died in the battle with the underground city. Now a powerful human teenager appeared to provoke him. How could he not be angry? However, he had some concerns. Have you seen him before? Is he a human who once lived in Archaic plane? The man in black looked at his men and said, No, we all remember clearly the strong human beings who came to Archaic plane before. This is a young human being, definitely not any of the previous ones. A strange light flashed in the narrow eyes of the man in black. If that's the case, then it's interesting. I really want to take a look. Whoosh. Quietly rushed out of the stone house and turned into a bat. Who is it? The man in black quickly came to where Yunfan was. At a glance, he saw a young man about a few hundred meters away. The young man looked very young and stood there casually. As for the human boy, there was nothing around him, and there were no other strong human beings. This young man is indeed not a strong man on the Archaic plane, but what does it mean that he suddenly appeared here and challenged me with great fanfare? You know, many strong men have come here in the past few days. Even masters from the bloodthirsty underground city have come. He used to be able to show off his power on his own acre of land in the plain, but now a series of masters have come out, so he has to be cautious. Although the human race has declined in the underground world, any race can still have 2 or 3 masters. Transformed into a human form again, the narrow eyes of the man in black instantly burst into a puzzled light. Yunfan, who was far away, turned his head and saw him at a glance. Although the vampire leader had tried his best to conceal his breath at this moment, Yunfan could still sense its existence. It's really interesting. It turns out that there are vampires in this world. To be honest, he didn't notice the bat when it first flew over, but the moment he turned into a human form, Yunfan discovered the existence of the vampire leader. Who are you? Why do you want to challenge my dignity? The vampire leader was slightly startled. Since he had been discovered, he might as well ask clearly. He thought he could turn into a bat. Even if he couldn't defeat the boy in front of him, he would have no problem escaping. I just want to find a tour guide. You look good. Yunfan looked like he was optimistic about you and looked at the vampire leader with a trembling fear. What? You actually want me to be your tour guide? The vampire leader exclaimed involuntarily. An inexplicable humiliation instantly surged into his heart. He heard something. A human race actually wanted him to be his tour guide. In his cognition, the human race has always been a humble existence. Even if their ancestors were driven into the underground world by the human race, they still felt that they were high above them. This was a contempt in their bones. Why do you think it's wrong for me to let you be a tour guide? Yunfan raised the corner of his mouth slightly, revealing a mocking smile. Since knowing the experience of the underground human race, Yunfan has no good feelings for these tribes. Young man of the human race, don't go too far. The vampire leader glared at Yunfan fiercely. I'm going too far? I think it is you, the underground alien race, who are going too far. You should know that in the past few days, more than 1 or 2 groups of people have wanted to capture him as their slaves. How did we humans offend you? You are so cruel that you want to kill all the humans. Being born as a human is a sin. The vampire leader glared at Yunfan fiercely, then turned around and turned into a bat. Chapter 470 Guide. Being born as a human is a sin? What kind of bullshit theory is this? Vampire, Yunfan quickly followed in the air and soon came to the vampire leader, looking down at the vampire leader and said, "Be my guide. You lowly human, you actually want to enslave me." The black-clothed vampire leader's narrow eyes were burning with anger. He really wanted to kill the guy in front of him at this moment. The vampire leader's body trembled slightly, suppressing the anger in his heart. Don't be impatient. Don't be impatient. If you are impatient, you will fall into the evil plan of this human kid. The fight between the human race and the alien races is very cruel. It can be described as a life and death struggle. However, when the human race and the alien races fight, there is a taboo boundary. That is, the true masters above the saint level on both sides will not take action to bully the weak. However, since the ancestor of the human race, I, was assassinated, this restriction has disappeared. After all, those above the saint level are the foundation, and are the highest combat power of each race. Once the saints fight each other, once they fall, it will shake the foundation of the race. When fulfilling the 100 Years Agreement, neither the human race nor the alien race wants to shake each other's foundation. After the human race's ancestor was assassinated, the alien race sent a lot of saint-level powerhouses to carry out a series of encirclement and suppression against the human race. Now the human race is no longer as strong as before, and the remaining saint-level powerhouses of the human race are helpless. The gap between their strengths is too big, and they can only protect the human race in their area. There is no one around the young man. He can fly in the air. He should be an 8th level sky warrior. The vampire leader's eyes flashed fiercely. It's just an ordinary 8th level, but how could he come to die? I'm afraid there are masters around, hiding aside with some hidden methods. Once I rush over, I'm afraid I will be besieged in an instant. The human race is a particularly cunning race. Yunfan stood in the void and looked around. The surrounding alien races had already fled cleanly. There was silence, only the wind blowing on the low grass, causing layers of ripples. This vampire is more careful and cautious than I expected. I have not revealed the aura of the saint rank. In his eyes, I should only be an 8th rank sky warrior. It doesn't dare to attack me. Yunfan frowned. The key is that this guy is a vampire, and his speed is too fast. If I can't catch this guy, I'm afraid I have to change my target to be my guide. The reason why Yunfan wanted to catch this vampire leader as a guide is because those low-level aliens don't know much about the Lazelic plane. It is indeed difficult to catch vampires. However, these creatures living in the dark, otherwise the former human race on the Lazelic plane, would not have killed him. This vampire has a very special physique. When he transformed into a vampire bat, he had a natural sense of danger. In the eyes of this vampire leader, Yunfan was only an 8th rank, and was not a threat. Are all aliens so timid? Huh. Yunfan frowned slightly, and some heads appeared faintly in the rocks in the distance. They are some aliens who came to watch the fun. A magic gun, that he had modified many times, appeared out of thin air in Yunfan's hand, and he instantly shot towards these aliens. The magic bullet instantly broke through the air, scaring the aliens to dodge. But how fast was the magic bullet shot by Yunfan? Suddenly there was a scream. "Vampire, are you still going to hide from me?" Yunfan shouted with a magic gun in his hand. "I didn't expect that you, a leader of an alien race, would be forced to only let these little guys come out. I really look down on you." Little kid of the human race, don't push your luck. Don't think I'm afraid of you. Don't think I don't know that there are probably strong seniors of your human race ambushing around here. How could you, a little kid of only level 8, come here to die? An extremely cold voice suddenly came from afar. Yunfan was immediately delighted. The vampire leader finally spoke, and at this moment Yunfan had caught up with the vampire leader, who had transformed into a bat. Ha ha ha. Yunfan showed a mocking smile on his face, and a layer of hazy colorful halo appeared on his body. At the same time, he pointed at the water surface, and a colorful light ball shot out from his fingertips and instantly reached the vampire leader, instantly binding it in the colorful halo. This is the rule power of the Holy Land. You are actually a saint level strongman. The vampire leader had turned into a human body at this moment. His face turned pale with fear, and roared in disbelief. Yes, I'm a saint. How can you be my guide without losing your status? Yunfan raised his lips slightly, and there was already some murderous intent in his tone. You have to think about it. There are more than you on the Lazelic plane. You are just a small leader in a few dozen miles. What do you mean by I? I'll give you 1 minute to think about it. If it takes more than 1 minute, then you can die. The life in the underground world in the past few days has already made him recognize the faces of these aliens. These guys are those who are hard to deal with. If you give them face, they will go to the trouble. Either die or be a guide. This is something that doesn't need to be considered at all. I promise to be your guide, but you have to promise me that you will let me go after you find what you want. The vampire leader said with a pale face. As the leader of an alien race in a small area, he really doesn't want to die. Okay, but I warn you not to play tricks on me. If you dare to tell me a lie, I will kill you as easily as crushing a loy beast. Loy beasts are similar to ants on Earth. Very weak, not even a first level magic beast. I understand, sir. The vampire leader responded helplessly. Have the human race become so domineering now? The human race is not domineering. It is you aliens who are domineering. Not only did you sneak attack the ancestors of the human race, but you also want to kill all the human race. If my strength is not as strong as yours, you would probably suck my blood clean. Yunfan said with a sneer. This, as a small alien leader, he naturally couldn't understand the grievances between the human race and the alien race. Although he wanted to refute, he swallowed his words when he saw Yunfan's cold eyes. He didn't want to make the young man in front of him unhappy. Chapter 471 Crack. With the vampire leader as a guide, Yunfan was no longer confused as when he first entered the Lazelic plane. How did this place become like this? I came here a few days ago, but it was not like this. According to Yunfan's request, the vampire leader led the way in front, but when they came to a very deep canyon, the vampire leader showed a confused look on his face. How deep is this place? It's hard to imagine. What is this place? How can there be such a huge abyss? Whether it is the human race or the alien race who came here, they were all surprised and doubtful, vaguely feeling that this Lazelic plane is no longer as simple as before. Not far away, a strong alien observed the surrounding scenery and his face became extremely ugly. He said, "Have you noticed that the suppression of our strength here is stronger?" Hearing him say this, everyone was shocked, and then they noticed that everyone's strength was indeed suppressed more severely. Everyone was hesitant about this strange crack. It seems that the aura of law interference here is even stronger. If I'm not mistaken, the world crystal should have a great connection with this crack abyss. Sakadin said. Maybe it's because of the special cultivation method. The strength of others has been suppressed to varying degrees, but if I use the power of the domain, that kind of suppression will not have much impact on me. Yunfan muttered softly. You kid is really a pervert, and the cultivation method is also perverted. If this is the case, you have a great chance of getting benefits from it. Sakadin said with some envy, but your special cultivation method cannot be cultivated without the help of the tree in your mind. What is your relationship with the goddess of fate? Fate actually takes care of you so much. To be honest, this world crystal is really mysterious. It can actually directly change the environment of the underground world. Yunfan couldn't help but admire. What's the big deal? If you can control the crystal of the world, you will be the master of this underground world. Even if there are real gods here, they can't harm you. Sakhardan said with envy. I really don't understand what this world is all about. In the world without a master, even the Lord of Heaven wants this thing. Hearing this, Yunfan was really shocked. No way, even the Lord of Heaven wants this thing. So even if you get the benefits, you must keep a low profile. Damn, how did this weird crack appear? Everyone present looked around and then pondered. They didn't want to be guinea pigs and be the first to enter the crack. No one knew what the situation was in the crack. There is half a stone tablet there. At this moment, an alien suddenly shouted. There was a pile of rocks outside the abyss crack, and there were several vigorous ancient trees. Among the entangled roots of the ancient trees, there was a half-broken stone tablet lying there, which was like a magical carving, and it seemed to have experienced countless years, and was full of vicissitudes. As the alien finished speaking, everyone walked over quickly, brushed off the broken branches on the broken monument, and immediately felt the charm. There were several ancient characters engraved on it, which were extremely vigorous and flowing with the breath of time. It was unknown how many years it had existed. What is written? Whether it was the human race or the alien race, most people did not recognize it. An alien prophet identified it for a long time, but was still a little uncertain, and said, it seems to be the words God and Demon Battlefield. When everyone heard the God and Demon Battlefield, they shuddered involuntarily. Just from these few words, it can be seen that this is not a good place, but one by one they became excited again. God and Demon Battlefield. If it is really a God and Demon Battlefield, there may be fallen gods and demons here, weapons and protective gear they used before. There may even be skills that the gods have practiced. Have you noticed that there seems to be no birds or beasts nearby? It's too quiet. One of the more careful aliens felt something was wrong. Indeed. Everyone nodded in unison. There are flowers and trees here, and it even looks lively on the surface, but a closer look reveals something very unusual. There is no other sound around. In the huge crack, no birds can be heard, no beasts can be seen, and there is no trace of animal activity. It is almost dead silent. There are no insects chirping on the ancient trees, only silence. All of this shows that this place is extraordinary. But then everyone hesitated again. If this is really the place where the gods fell, then the danger here is even greater. This is a place where opportunities and crises coexist, and everything is full of unknowns. But in the end, greedy desires overcame their fears. The opportunity is in front of us. If we don't fight for it, when will we have a chance to succeed? Everyone present was full of hope. Many alien races nodded repeatedly. The human race present was also full of desire. They had been suppressed for too long. Their average strength was lower than that of these alien races, which made their lives in the underground world very difficult. Many human race masters wanted the underground world to change the situation of the human race, but their strength was indeed limited. This was an opportunity. If they could find one or two artifacts, they would have a chance to bring new hope to the human race. At this time, several human race masters jumped into the crack first. All the alien races present saw that the human race actually jumped into the crack, and their faces changed drastically. Damn it, those human races actually got there first. We must not let them get the benefits, otherwise, the current situation of the underground world may change. The alien race also jumped into the crack while speaking, and then another race jumped into the crack one after another. Since he had found the place he wanted to go, Yunfan released the alien vampire leader as agreed. Yunfan boy, everyone else has already gone in. When are you going to go in? Sakhardan asked. Don't worry, we know nothing about the situation in the cracks. It's not a bad idea to let these aliens help us explore the way. Besides, is it so easy to get the crystal world of this world? Yunfan said calmly, the main thing is that I have a feeling that this thing should be very useful. Yunfan suddenly pointed to the stone tablet not far away and said, what? You mean the stone tablet of the battlefield of gods and demons? Sakhardan couldn't help but look in the direction Yunfan pointed. Isn't this thing special? Use your mental power to take a look. Chapter 472, Picking Up a Bargain. I have already used my spiritual power to investigate. This is just an ordinary stone tablet. What else can be special about it? Sakhardan was even more puzzled. Look at these words carefully. There is an extremely powerful magic array arranged on it. How can an ordinary stone tablet carry such a powerful magic array? What? You said there is a powerful magic array on it. Why didn't I find it? Sakadin said in surprise. If it weren't for the world tree and the sea of consciousness reminding me, I might not be able to find it with my eyes. Yunfan said with a smile. Since he entered the saint stage, the world tree and the sea of consciousness has grown a little bit, and can even communicate with him normally. I didn't expect that the mysterious little tree is actually the legendary world tree. Although Sakadin had guessed this result long ago, he was still a little surprised. Yunfan slowly walked towards the stone tablet, and found that he was only a few meters away from the stone tablet. He walked for a long time without getting close. At this time, the world tree and the sea of consciousness sent another slight message, which roughly meant, you are so stupid, there is clearly a formation here, but you want to go to the stone tablet without breaking the formation. Yunfan paused slightly, and sent a message to the world tree and the sea of consciousness, what should I do? What a big fool, your domain can assimilate most of the magic arrays and prohibitions in this world. You should know that the skills I gave you contain all the laws in the world. Yunfan nodded thoughtfully, and his mind moved, and he directly expanded his domain. Yunfan's domain is very special, as if there is no difference from the surrounding environment. Only Yunfan knows that this is a characteristic of his domain, which can be called mimicry, simulating all the forms around, to achieve the effect of replacing the surrounding laws. With this characteristic, he can even replace the hostile domain unconsciously, making others think that everything is under his control. Who would have thought that his domain is no longer under his own control, and this method of attacking the enemy can simply make the opponent collapse. As his domain unfolded, Yunfan truly sensed the existence of the magic circle that the world tree had mentioned. The entire magic circle, including the purpose of this magic circle, seemed to be reflected in his mind. Every action of Yunfan could affect this magic circle. I really didn't expect that your domain would have this function. If other people knew about this, they would definitely kill you before your feathers were full. You kid must not let others know that your domain has this characteristic. Sakadin said very seriously. Don't worry, I'm not a fool. I naturally know the principle of hiding my shortcomings. Yunfan smiled slightly. After living together for such a long time, Yunfan also knew Sakadin very well. This guy is a sharp tongue, but a tofu heart, and his character is still good. Yes, if anyone can take advantage of you, you little fox, it's really the sun rising from the west. Sakadin couldn't help but curl his lips. Now he has long regarded Yunfan as his friend. If he has a body that can come out, maybe he will drink and talk happily with Yunfan. Yunfan quickly passed through the magic circle and came to the stone tablet. When he approached the stone tablet, he found that the entire stone tablet was not as simple as he saw at the beginning. The aura on it is very strange. Yunfan said. How can it not be strange? This stone tablet alone has reached the level of a divine artifact. Although it is only a lower level divine artifact, it is still a divine artifact. Sakadin curled his lips. If there is a divine artifact on this continent, I'm afraid many demigods will jump for joy. Divine artifact. Yunfan was slightly startled, and then he remembered that the aura on it was somewhat similar to the divine artifacts in the hands of those masters he had seen before. But what exactly is the function of this divine artifact? I don't know what the function is. Why don't you subdue this divine artifact first, and you may know the function of this divine artifact? Sakadin suggested. Subdue the artifact? I like it. But how do you subdue this artifact? Will there be any danger? I think you have read too many night novels. What danger can a lower level artifact have? Just drip a drop of blood to communicate with his artifact spirit. If the artifact spirit ignores you or does not recognize you, you can destroy the artifact spirit and then cultivate it again. Sakadin curled his lips, looking very ignorant. In that case, I will agree. Yunfan dripped a drop of blood on the stone tablet while speaking. Sakadin originally wanted to embarrass Yunfan by looking at the artifact, but who knew that before Yunfan could communicate, the stone tablet directly turned into a halo and entered Yunfan's sea of consciousness. Fuck. Sakadin couldn't help but curse. There was no test of the artifact spirit. You are a divine artifact. Even if it is only the lowest level artifact, you should have your own dignity. At the same time, Sakadin couldn't help but envy Yunfan. When he conquered the first artifact, he suffered a lot. Now compared with Yunfan, it's just a waste of money. Yunfan quickly got the information of this artifact from the artifact spirit. The name of this artifact is the Seal of Gods and Demons, which has the power to seal the divine power and domain of others. After half a day of exploration, Yunfan has almost mastered this artifact, and then he turned his attention to the crack again. It's time to go in and take a look. Yunfan smiled slightly. After entering the crack, it seemed as if he had entered a new world, or a new small world. There were no other people at the crack. It seemed that everyone else had gone far away. At the beginning, there was no danger along the way. The magic beasts here are really magical. Yunfan pointed to the distant sky. In the distance, there seemed to be a creature that looked like a pterosaur from Earth hovering. It was very special. Even though it was far away, one could still feel the powerful force fluctuations of the flying creature. At this time, the flying creature flew a distance to this area, and then it suddenly dived into a mountainous area. After a moment, it soared into the sky again, with a prey in its claws. Sakadin, do you know what kind of monster that monster is? Yunfan couldn't help but ask. That thing looks a bit like the pterosaur in the legend, but didn't that thing disappear in the last era? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 473, Fighting the Silver Snake. This should be the kingdom of a god. But it seems that this god should be in ancient existence. Now the power has dissipated, and the god should have fallen. After the god fell, the kingdom of God was able to operate normally for so many years, probably thanks to the world crystal. Sakadin analyzed. My lord, quite a few humans have landed on the island. Several aliens reported. Going to the island? There are actually quite a few humans who have landed on the island. Who gave those humble humans the right? Some alien leaders suppressed their anger. My lord, these humans probably want to take advantage of this opportunity to find medicine to treat the injuries of the human ancestors. An alien guessed slightly. We can't let them find medicine to cure the human ancestors no matter what. Some aliens flashed a fierce look in their eyes. Send our people to the island quickly and kill all the humans they see. Do we really want to kill them all? A foreign man was shocked and asked hesitantly. You must remember that we are the proud ancestors, and the human race is only worthy of being our slaves. The alien male leader shouted angrily. This island is very interesting, but these aliens are really pushing their limits and actually want to exterminate our human race. Yunfan glanced around. Yunfan walked slowly. Every step was like riding the wind, circling the island. The island was nearly 10 miles in radius, which was not small. In the distance, aliens were waving long swords and chasing the human race. Aliens. Yunfan flew onto the island and took out 2 magic guns from the space construction. The magic bullets flew directly and killed the few people who were chasing the human race. Thank you, this human race strongman, for your rescue. If we can survive, we will repay you one day. The human race who survived by chance. You are here to heal the ancestors of the human race. Can you tell me what's going on? As a human race, I will try my best to help you if I can. Boss, believe this lord. I believe that as a human race, he will definitely not ignore the human race. In order to kill the human race, the alien race sent a lot of men. Many alien races saw Yunfan and regarded him as a weakling and wanted to kill him directly. Yunfan would not show mercy to these alien races. Yunfan suddenly saw from a distance that a golden snake suddenly emerged from a huge cave in the distance. There were other snake beasts several feet in size beside the golden snake. These snake beasts were all large in size, and they were probably all 8th level strength. After seeing Yunfan, these snake beasts attacked directly. Swoosh! Yunfan took a step and rushed out in an instant, releasing his aura. Why is this human race so strong? These snakes growled at each other, and none of them attacked Ji Yunfan, and they all scattered and quickly fled far away. Ji Yunfan naturally had no good feelings towards these snakes. The monsters all had their own nature. They considered anyone who entered their territory as an enemy. Ji Yunfan would naturally not show mercy to these snakes that wanted to kill him. Ji Yunfan once again had 2 magic guns in his hands, and he shot directly at the fleeing monsters. Swish, swish, swish. A burst of magic bullets shot out. In an instant, the largest snake beast was killed, while some snakes that were slightly smaller and weaker escaped. Damn human, you dare to kill one of my children. I will definitely kill you. I will definitely kill you. An angry and low roar came from the depths of the cave, which surprised Ji Yunfan, who was standing at the entrance of the nest and preparing to go in. It can actually speak. It seems that it should have entered the saint level. Ji Yunfan glanced around in confusion. Among the monsters killed by his magic gun next to him, which one was his child? Could it be the silver one? Generally speaking, snakes are very lustful, and this demon beast snake that has entered the saint level has more than 50 children in total. But what he cares about most is the silver snake that Ji Yunfan shot, because the color of this little snake is the same as its body color, and it has the purest blood of a divine beast, and it is the easiest among his many children to enter the saint level. If it weren't for your descendants wantonly hunting down my human race, I wouldn't have killed them. You're asking for trouble, Ji Yunfan said in a cold tone. What are human races? They are just our food. The strong prey on the weak. This is the justice of the world. They are weak and will be eaten by us. An angry voice came. Since the weak must become food, your descendants are weaker than me, so I should hunt them down. By the way, do you have other descendants? Otherwise, send them out and see who is stronger. The more my magic done. This nest is where the giant snake of the Holy Land has lived for thousands of years. It is deep and winding. This small world is a completely closed world. There are many powerful monsters here. The giant snake is not too weak, because it is the strongest on this island, so no other monsters feel uncomfortable and come here to make trouble. Ji Yunfan held the Daoluo sword in one hand and a magic gun in the other. Snake nest. In the nest, I often encounter snake monsters rushing out. Some are ferocious, some are weird. When they see Ji Yunfan, they are like seeing delicious food. They all want to eat Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan gave him a magic bullet and shot the little snake to death. This nest is really deep. Ji Yunfan continued to go deeper along the winding nest cave. Suddenly, a hazy huge snake shadow suddenly appeared in the dim cave. The huge snake head opened its mouth and directly enveloped Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan's face changed drastically. This big snake in the holy domain was so big. No matter what kind of magic beast, as long as it enters the holy level, it can be transformed into a human form. However, their human form is much weaker than their original form, so ordinary magic beasts will not choose to transform into a human form, unless they have no choice. The magic beast silver snake. Ji Yunfan instantly identified it. As the huge black shadow approached, the hideous silver snake head became clearer and clearer. The red eyes were staring at Ji Yunfan angrily, as if to eat him alive. Damn human, I didn't expect you to dare to drive straight into my nest. The silver snake roared directly, and the voice spread over. You killed my son. Today, I will make you pay with your life. Chapter 474. Using the magic circle. Ji Yunfan shouted, damn you bastard silver snake, you dare to let your descendants kill my human race and use my human race as your food. Today I will kill you with my own hands. Ha ha ha, you want to kill me? You little kid really overestimates your ability. You actually came to my nest. The silver snake was quite confident. Don't think that you have entered the holy level. Even a demigod would not dare to be rampant here. You broke through to the holy level with the help of the magic circle here. No wonder you dare not go out easily. In this way, your domain has been integrated with this magic circle. Ji Yunfan said thoughtfully. I didn't expect you to have some sense. No matter what, you must die. As soon as the voice fell, the silver snake suddenly jumped and rushed directly to Ji Yunfan. Swish. The silver snake's tail drilled towards Ji Yunfan first. The power contained in the snake tail was absolutely beyond imagination. As expected, it is a magic beast that has entered the holy level. Ji Yunfan was shocked. In terms of speed alone, It is absolutely much stronger than Yunfan. Magic beasts are naturally stronger than human flesh. Yunfan resisted his attack and couldn't help but take 2 steps back. Very good. This is interesting. Yunfan performed instant transfer. Every time the snake's tail was about to touch it, it quickly completed space jumps again and again. Damn bastard, you must die. The silver snake suddenly turned its head, opened its smelly mouth, and swallowed Yunfan directly. Yunfan held the Daoluo sword in one hand, jumped up and stabbed the silver snake's belly directly. 10,000 snakes field. At this moment, thousands of green snakes appeared, covering the entire space. These snakes were not real snakes, but she used her own toxins and power to transform into snakes. Then the huge silver snake's bloody mouth directly sprayed out a liquid like a water arrow. The liquid had a strong fishy smell and was covered with black light. Yunfan did not dodge at all. He used the sword technique of the demon sealing sword with the Daoluo divine sword in his left hand to directly lead the venom to the side. The rotten venom directly melted the earth. Seeing this, Yunfan shuddered involuntarily. If this poison fell on him, the consequences would be disastrous. A sword came from the west. Yunfan quickly adjusted his state, took a step forward, and slashed the Daoluo divine sword in his hand. The sword drew a huge scar on the body of the silver snake, and the giant snake let out a painful cry. Sissy. Damn human race, you really pissed me off. But then, the blood that had flowed out actually flowed back, and the huge scar actually closed up, and was absorbed by the silver snake. In my domain, I'm a true god. Really? I'm afraid not. He said this, and the Daoluo sword in his hand was doubled. He kept slashing out, and the sword contained the true meaning of sealing the demon, which was so fast that the silver snake was startled, and it didn't even try to turn its head to the side. Seal the demon. Yunfan's eyes flashed with cold light. Exorcise the evil spirits. The Daoluo sword pierced directly from the side of the huge snake's head, penetrated into the scales, and then rubbed the edge of the silver snake's head and came out. Through the wound, the white skull could be vaguely seen, and a lot of blood splashed out of the wound. Sissy, how dare you do this to me? Although the silver snake's wound had healed, the intense tearing pain from the wound almost drove it crazy. It suddenly raised its head, and its huge scaled bone wings quickly swept towards Yunfan. Its tail also wrapped around Yunfan, stirring up the surrounding air. Seeing this, Yunfan frowned at first, but then his brows relaxed. It seems that there is a price to pay for recovering instantly. Yunfan had already discovered that the power of the silver snake in front of him was gradually decreasing, and he couldn't help but say with a cold face, Yunfan's attack speed was getting faster and faster. Although the silver snake was shocked by Yunfan's powerful moves, it couldn't believe that it, a demon beast that had practiced for thousands of years, would be defeated by a human. Not to mention that Yunfan had killed his most beloved child. At this moment, the silver snake had only one thought: to make the human boy in front of him live a life worse than death. The entire space seemed to be blocked in an instant. The air was shaking. A strange hexagram emerged from the ground. The power of the silver snake was greatly improved. The huge scaled bone wings and the elusive snake tail strangled it crazily. The mysterious magic circle was the silver snake's reliance. It broke through the original level with the help of the magic circle on the auxiliary island. When it broke through, it had become a part of the magic circle. Although this magic circle has a lot of restrictions on him, it also gives him great benefits. In this magic circle, when facing the same level of saint, he will be invincible. The Daoluo sword in Yunfan's hand kept changing, and the magic sword technique flashed, leaving scars on the body of the silver snake. I'm invincible here. You want to kill me? It is absolutely impossible. Die, die, die. I want you to die. With the help of this magic circle and his domain, the powerful recovery ability brought by his domain, although the injuries on his body were quickly recovered, but the pain caused by each attack would not be reduced, and even her pain was more intense. This pain has made him completely crazy. Yunfan also fought with it frantically, sometimes with a space transfer, sometimes with a dark magic, making the silver snake flustered. Damn human boy, who are you? Why do you control so many attributes? Of course I'm the one who wants to take your life. Yunfan said very coldly. There are so many people who want to take my life. and seize my island here, but in the end they were killed one by me. As long as I'm in this god level magic circle, I'm an immortal existence. Even if I have to consume you, I will consume you to death." The silver snake roared loudly. "Although I can cause great damage to the silver snake, with the help of the power of this magic circle, he will recover soon. If I can't stop him from recovering, the longer the battle lasts, the more disadvantageous it will be to me." "Who said that only you can use the power of this magic circle? Let me see what this magic circle is all about." Yunfan suddenly made up his mind and released his mental power instantly. A special breath spread from him. "Boy, are you ready to use the power of your domain? But within the range of my magic circle, your domain will have no effect. Don't waste your time, just wait and die." Chapter 475, Taking Control of the Situation. "Big Snake, you are too confident, aren't you?" As soon as the voice fell, Yunfan suddenly jumped and rushed directly into the area, controlled by the silver snake. The silver snake did not retreat but advanced. The huge snake tail smashed down first and swept directly towards Yunfan. The power of the snake tail was many times stronger than at the beginning. Yunfan saw a huge black shadow approaching him and was not panicked at all. He held the Daolo divine sword and walked on the airwaves. Wherever he passed, the airwaves naturally formed a channel and rushed towards the black shadow. It is worthy of being a holy level monster. After the close combat, Yunfan couldn't help but be shocked again. In terms of speed alone, it has exceeded the beginning by a lot. The momentum and strength have reached an extremely terrifying level. Yunfan's domain had also been unfolded and merged with the magic circle. Yunfan had gradually taken control of the magic circle. "Silver Snake, prepare to die." Yunfan suddenly reversed the magic circle and unleashed a thunderbolt. He turned into a residual image, which was even faster than the big silver snake's whipping, and directly jumped onto the snake's body. The reversal of the magic circle instantly backfired on the silver snake, and the silver snake couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of green blood. Raw. "Damn, what's going on?" The silver snake didn't care about much, and its head suddenly twisted, directly opened its smelly mouth, and swallowed Yunfan directly. "Without the help of the magic circle, you still dare to be rampant." Yunfan held the Daolo sword in both hands, jumped up and stabbed the silver snake's head directly. The silver snake opened its bloody mouth and directly sprayed out a stream of dark green venom. The green venom instantly enveloped Yunfan, but Yunfan was very calm. He dodged it with just a shift. Then Yunfan took a step forward, holding the Daolo divine sword and performing the demon sealing reincarnation slash, which landed on the body of the winged snake. The sword containing the demon sealing sword was so powerful that it startled the silver snake, and it hurriedly tried to dodge it sideways. "Seal the demon." Yunfan's eyes flashed with a cold light. Nirvana. The Daolo divine sword pierced directly from the huge snake's head, penetrated the scales, and then rubbed the silver snake's scales. Through the wound, you can faintly see the fresh flesh and blood, and a lot of blood splashed out of the wound. Without the blessing of the magic circle, the silver snake can no longer recover instantly. What on earth is going on? The silver snake was in a completely frenzied state. It was scared. It felt the fear of death. It suddenly raised its head, and its huge snake tail quickly swept towards Yunfan, stirring up the air around it. Yunfan came to the side of the silver snake in a flash, holding the Daolo sword in one hand as fast as a phantom. "What's going on? Now I control the entire magic circle." Impossible. This, absolutely impossible. Although the silver snake was shocked by the strength displayed by Yunfan, it didn't believe it. It didn't believe that the other party could control the magic circle on which it depended for survival. At this moment, the silver snake had only one thought: kill Yunfan and eliminate all the uneasy factors. The air was shaking, and the huge snake tail did seem very clever and elusive, strangling it crazily. Yunfan was like an elf, dodging nimbly, and even his sword was faster. The sword skills flashed, leaving wounds on the silver snake's body. How is this possible? How can you control my magic circle? Die. 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 I want you to die. The silver snake felt deeply uneasy. Only by killing the human boy in front of him could he calm down his fear. The deep cave was filled with killing. Some small snakes did not dare to approach, and had already escaped without a trace. The blood from the large wounds on the silver snake's body also dyed the entire nest red. The magic circle is running. Suppress it. Yunfan suddenly spit out a few cold words, and the whole island shook wildly. How is this possible? How can you control my magic circle? What kind of monster are you? The silver snake was even more terrified. Such a big commotion, and the effect is so good. Yunfan's eyes lit up. He never thought that the effect of this magic circle was so good, and it gave him a feeling of controlling the laws of the entire world. The silver snake had already done everything it could, but it still couldn't hurt Yunfan. Instead, it had more and more wounds on its body. Those wounds were stabbed by the Daoluo sword, which carried a divine aura. Without the help of the magic array of the divine level, it could not recover from the wounds at all. After I entered the holy level, there were only a few people stronger than me in this area. They came to the island and didn't dare to fight me. How could this kid be so strong at such a young age? And he could also control my magic array. The silver snake calmed down after the frenzy. He had already felt the crisis of death and began to retreat in his heart. He was able to live for thousands of years and advance to the holy level. He was more afraid of death than ordinary monsters. Yunfan's strength and means frightened it. Now it didn't think about how to avenge its descendants. Time passed by minute. The emotion of fear spread in its heart. It was a monster, and its body was naturally strong. The average master of the holy domain was afraid that it could not pierce its scales, but Yunfan's sword was extremely sharp. The sword in his hand is actually a divine weapon. Silver Snake only noticed at this time that Yunfan was holding the Daoluo sword. The resentment and hatred in his heart quickly began to disappear, and there was only fear. All my means have become his means. I can't fight this kind of Evildoer. Let's run away quickly. Having lost all its support, Silver Snake flicked its tail and turned its head, ready to escape. Silver Snake, it's already this time. Are you ready to escape? If it was at the beginning, you might still have this opportunity, but now, your fate is doomed, and death is your destination. Just as Silver Snake was about to escape, the Daoluo sword in Yunfan's hand was instantly displayed, and the magic circle in the nest was instantly opened, restricting Silver Snake at once. Damn it, what the hell is going on? How can you control my magic circle? Silver Snake roared, flicked its tail, and the air suddenly vibrated. The powerful fluctuations made the entire magic circle tremble. Silver Snake suddenly felt a terrifying threat from somewhere and turned his head to see that the magic circle was once again exerting pressure on him. At the same time, Yunfan was floating in the air, and the Dao key in his body was injected into the Daoluo sword, which transformed and condensed into a sword beam that was floating in front of him. What kind of method is this? Silver Snake was stunned. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.